immediately picked up the blue-haired woman. Curtis's power he'd seen before. He didn't trust the bald old man to be able to control him. Parker, who had finished the fight, looked at Curtis. What is Curtis smirking at there? Take a closer look. It turned out to be the bald old man who was playing tricks. Parker snorted. The sharp eyes are about to bite the bald old man, who knew that the bald old man clenched his little fist. A punch to Parker. Give you a pestle, and Parker slammed to the ground. Curtis was immediately called. The source of wanting to frame Mr. Bai is behind him. At this time, Curtis did not move. He's engaged in a mental confrontation with the old rabbit man. Just when the old rabbit suffered a counter-incident and vomited blood, Parker seized the opportunity and rushed over. With tears in his voice, he pressed King Yuan to the ground. I took a bite of it. With the rabbit, the old man was seriously injured. Curtis, the white green in the illusion gradually disappeared. Curtis, I wish you could be with me forever, and so would I. But hope can only be extravagant. You have to be happy when I'm gone. Afterwards, the white green in the illusion completely disappeared. Curtis was still saddened to think that one day, will Bai Qingqing also leave him like today? Fight with the old rabbit man here. Buckets Parker pushed the old rabbit man. Meet the old enemy who has been fighting them for so long. Just died in front of himself. Parker finally transformed into human form. Breathe a sigh of relief. His youth no longer has to be afraid. Instead, he led Parker to sit up. Laugh at Curtis, you're awesome. It can also be controlled by a bald old man. In exchange, it was Curtis's ruins. Curtis asked Parker, how's it going? Now Curtis's snake beast has trapped the wolf beast, tied up with the females. Curtis called to Parker. Very good to send to the tiger tribe, of course I know. Command me less. Curtis PSBS walked through the door. Jero was covered by a cabinet in the room. Below is the waterway that leads to the groundwater. Look towards this dark passage that leads to the bottom of the water. Cord eyes can still smell it. The smell of a yellow-haired and blue-haired woman. Although let them run. But the most insidious bald old man has been solved. After that, they don't have to worry about being plotted. Vincent called Harvey. Speaking of Baianin, there has been no movement since yesterday. Harvey fears that Baianin is dead. I asked if there was anything different recently than before. Bai Qingqing said, recently, I have eaten a lot of oranges and fukuja pork. Harvey sighed. Both oranges and fukuja meat are perfect for eating. It also nourishes the body. Bai Qingqing reacted suddenly. Anxiously asked if it was because of that. Vincent was just as nervous. Holding Bai Qingqing's hand, he couldn't help but increase his strength. Vincent, you can hurt me. Does it hurt? I'll blow it for you. Harvey also tensed. I'll go get herbs and put them on for you. I used the handrails, and now the most important thing is to tell me. I don't. Does that really make a difference? Harvey replied in the affirmative, of course. If the fetus is too weak, it must be done to stimulate fetal activity. Harvey then questioned Vincent. He had confessed once every 3 days before. Could it be that Vincent forgot? Vincent suddenly remembered. Curtis before they go. Vincent had been told to do it once every 3 days. But in the past few days, he has been alone with Bai Qingqing. Very happy. I forgot. Bai Qingqing stood up to protect the calf at this time. Say he's none of Vincent's business. Han Wei looked at Bai Qingqing's performance. It's not worth it for Bai Qingqing. Since Vincent is unwilling, what are you doing with him? And if the male is often injected, not conducive to leveling up, so when the female is pregnant, there are quite a few males who are unwilling. But Bai Qingqing is so beautiful. Harvey couldn't figure it out either. Why the hell Vincent's reluctance? After asking in detail, Harvey was even more sure. It's Vincent who can't bear his essence. Bai Qingqing explained again that it was not his problem. I think I found the reason. Thank you, Vincent, who was lying on the white side. I feel warm in my heart. After Ah Wei left, Bai Qingqing also drove the cubs below to play. Finally, He bowed his head and called Vincent shyly. Go and plug the hole in the tree. Vincent probably guessed Bai Qingqing's intentions. But I'm not sure yet. It's possible that Bai Qingqing is just sleepy and wants to sleep. You don't understand my pretense of being reserved. I don't understand your plans. Bai Qingqing also began to wonder. Vincent didn't understand, or didn't want to, thinking that he had been following him. I guess I like myself. Then Bai Qingqing called Vincent again. Well, let's get an injection, okay? Don't you want that? Yes, of course I do. How can I not want to? Come on then. The tattooed hands and feet looked like they were borrowed. Stiffly wrote up, although it has been exposed before. But now I still feel the tattoo. A strong sense of oppression. When the tattoo is aiming. Bai gently and abruptly stopped and waited. You plugged the holes in the floor as well. Immediately, the tattoo rushed over. Plugged the hole in the floor. Gasped. After some self-comfort. Thinking of it all for the pups. He himself should be more generous for Qingqing and Sizai. Give yourself. Come on, dry day. Vincent was about to give Bai Qingqing an injection. Frightened, Bai Qingqing blushed and his heart beat, and the deer crashed. Vincent, can you see my face clearly? Well, I can see that it started, yes. Where to start? Bai Qingqing felt speechless. But think about it. The previous one. It was also because of his subconscious actions. Bai Qingqing took the initiative ruthlessly. It's those who kissed Vincent's mouth, trying to guide Vincent slowly. Vincent kept Curtis in mind. They were too fierce. It must be gentle, gentle, and gentle. Affectionate, affectionate, and gentle. Then, Bai Qingqing suddenly felt Bai Yinin's movement. There was a rush of excitement in my heart. It's amazing. Is it better for him to move his biological father? What's wrong? And then moved. It's good if it works. After that, the two looked at each other and felt a little embarrassed. Vincent thought that now that the task of the fetus was completed, Bai Qingqing shouldn't need herself. Just as I was about to cancel the injection, Bai Qingqing hugged Vincent's neck. At this moment, it was still Bai Qingqing who took the initiative, because of seeing Vincent's appearance. So I couldn't hold back all of a sudden. Vincent also quickly got into the groove. The two men began to gasp. Vincent wanted to clear his mind at this time. Bai Qingqing, who asked, was willing to be injected. It's because I like myself. Or because he hadn't waited for Vincent to finish asking. Bai Qingqing immediately replied. Because I like you, of course. You're my partner. Here Bai Qingqing's confession. Vincent took Bai Qingqing into his arms. Hold it tightly. At this time, Bai Qingqing said, if it wasn't Vincent's child, they then have a litter of tiger cubs. The boy was relieved to agree. I'll start with okay. And then if it were yours, I wouldn't give birth. I don't like having children. In both years, they will have 3 children. I'm so tired. Wait until you raise your child before you think about having a baby. Okay, listen to you. After the injection, Vincent intimately covered Bai Qingqing with a quilt. Speaking of going to cook food for him, Bai Qingqing said intimately, I'm not too hungry yet. Let him do it slowly. Vincent put on his flesh-skinned skirt. This fascinating action caused Bai Qingqing to still be a nymphomaniac. After eating and drinking, Bai Qingqing lay down. Vincent wanted to sleep with him. Was rejected by Bai Qingqing. Let him go to the bath. Vincent immediately agreed. Bai Qingqing sighed. It's better to sigh and be honest. Really obedient Vincent, after washing, asked Bai Qingqing if I could go to bed. Suddenly, Bai Qingqing felt speechless. Vincent is still the same simple Vincent. Very good at using a sincere face. Speaking such filthy words. After that, Vincent hugged Bai Qingqing and prepared to sleep together. At this time, Bai Qingqing hugged Vincent and said, Vincent, you know what you just said? What does that mean? What does it mean that you want to inject? No, I didn't mean that. But I think. Outside the tribe, there are many females. There is a wolf riding under the crotch, slowly approaching the inside of the tribe. Curtis and Parker brought back more than 100 females, and more than 500 wolf beasts. Now the tribe can be expanded a lot. It's just halfway through. Curtis drove them all away. Curtis said proudly, "If you want to be kicked out, you can try it. You dare not agree today." And the wolves, a small snake, sneakily appeared at the back of the line. Look at the abs below the neck. At first glance, it is Curtis's son. He could turn his head. Out of his peripheral vision, he saw a snake at the back of the line. Hey, there's a snake. Aren't they all dismissed? Curtis also spotted the little snake. The crocodile turned its head and stared at it with a sharp look. "You got involved." Parker shouted, "Isn't this a green snake, boy? It's grown so big." Little Snake's leopard father is quite happy, but his own snake father was very angry. Shouted loudly to get out. The little snake turned around in fear. Escape from the sight of the good father. Tears fell in the wind. Curtis turned around and told Parker not to tell Xiaobai. Parker said proudly, "Look at the new deal." The words are not finished. Was sent into the sky by Curtis with a snake's tail. Soon after, several people rushed back. Parker climbed the hole in the tree, hugged by Qingqing with a handful. "Qingqing, I miss you so much." Suddenly, both of them smelled a strange smell. An important secret has been discovered. It's that Bai Qingqing and Vincent have gone through the depths. Degree of communication. Parker was immediately angry, and you were to blame Curtis. Curtis, however, looked like he didn't care about himself. Dozing off on the sidelines, Curtis threw himself into Bai Qingqing's arms. "It's like a child has been robbed of a toy. It hurts my heart. It's this death again." He was seen by his own cub again. But the cub didn't dislike him. Instead, he ran over and took Parker's calf, comforted him. Sure enough, after a few minutes, Parker was coaxed. Then the two exchanged eagerly. "You're having a hard time over there, right? Are there any injuries? Are you still used to the food? You don't have tattoos these days?" "Hey, you seem to be fat," Curtis asked, turning around and holding his chin in his hand. "Looks like you're having a great time at home." The inner subtext is that there seems to be no me, Curtis. You're living a very good life. "Mr. Bai, the big man, ha, it's okay, ha ha. It's so noisy outside. I'll check it out, ha ha ha. I don't know how many females I brought back. Do I go so much?" The group leader reports to Vincent that the house is ready. There are no flaring bears. The hides worn by the females were prepared, just waiting for them to pick. Vincent ordered the females to be taken to the cave. Let them pick and choose as they wish. The females were instantly happy without compulsion. He said, "Let's pick and choose. This wolf is so handsome. Why didn't I notice it before?" At this point, Vincent added another rule. If the female chooses the male of the tiger family, you can immediately enter a comfortable nest. If not, to choose the males of the tiger family, only wait for their own partner to come. Build a house. Immediately, the females hesitated. The wolf beasts were a little upset. The unhappy wolf beast wants to do something. There are big teeth in there. Minson turned his head and yelled at "Don't try to mess around. We are only enemies of your previous leaders. It's not you. That's why I'm going to let you join. If you don't want to, you can roll or die, and a few wolf beasts are still there." Even when on the offensive, the tattoo releases a micro-pressure that is overwhelming. With a click, he grabbed the wolf beast's neck. Brush it and throw it out. It slammed into the ground, after showing a wave of dismounting. The other wolf beasts also bowed their heads and floated. Mr. Bai saw this scene. Tiger King is a good dick. That's when Curtis reached out, entangled by Qingqing. "Curtis, what are you doing?" Parker stretched out his way to make food for Bai Qingqing, leaving Curtis hugging Bai Qingqing. Curtis smiled at his mother. Bai Qingqing asked, "Did you meet something good outside? Let's talk about it. You just went straight. Does Parker want to be alone with me?" "Well, really? Tell us quickly." After that, Curtis gave Bai Qingqing. Talked about him in the illusion of a bald old man. seen white and green. And at the time, Curtis knew it was a vision. Even if it were to do it again, he would be willing. Curtis hugged Bai Qingqing, comforted Bai Qingqing without guilt. It was he who didn't take care of Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing was moved to tears. Shaking all over, "You take good care of me. I don't want any. I'm going to ask the four of you to get Carrie." See gag Bai Qingqing's mouth. Bai Qingqing also greeted him very cooperatively. There was a noise outside the house. Numerous male beasts think together to watch fights. They're competing for females. A big bird flew in the sky. It was the green fur that landed on the branch with a lump of fruit. Jasmine thought it was Agar back. I turned my head and looked. Oh, it was green hair. What are you doing here? I haven't seen a green-haired Jasmine for a long time. I found that the feathers of the green feathers were really beautiful and black. But in terms of strength, it's still not as good as Lao Lung. Jasmine looked quietly. It turned out to be the fruit that Ed's family picked up on the tree every day. It was immediately delivered by air every day. Immediately said to save face. I took him along the way because I saw him being too pitiful. Jasmine put the fruit in her mouth and took a bite. It's so sour. Immediately, I was a little angry, changed into a human form, and lost it. Never given to you again. I like to eat sour, the sourer the better. Greenhair didn't see Agar. Ask in the house that you still have only one partner. Oh yes. Bears and bears have gone after the females who have newly joined the tribe. You're not going to find another one. Your buddy with broken ears is too useless. You can't find anything you want to eat. If you hadn't touched me, you wouldn't have been able to eat it now. When I hear it, I immediately say bad things about my partner. Jasmine smashed a fruit in her hand and snapped. In the home of love, it is not called a partner who breaks the ear. I'm not in a hurry now. When the tribe is strong, I'll choose slowly. The green-haired man hummed back angrily. Then you wait slowly. Bai Qingqing also said that he liked me. I can't see Achio at all. Bai Qingqing sneezed. On time someone was speaking ill of him behind his back. He asked with concern. Bai Qingqing didn't have a cold? No, it's just a little itchy nose. I'll help you get there. Oh, it's a bit heavy, of course. You've been there for more than 10 days. I've eaten a lot. How isn't it lately? The two chatted like this. Not for a while. He told Bai Qingqing sneakily. I'll tell you a secret. What I saw your snake cub on. Parker told Bai Qingqing. He saw the little snake that Curtis had thrown away. Don't let Curtis know. Curtis never wanted me to meet Snake Kid. He probably didn't drive the little snake away again. Where's the little snake now? I'm in the tribe. I found it outside, and it should have come specifically to look for you. It won't be that easy to walk on. Ah, that's good. How many of them there are? I saw one as thick as your head. There are 1/3 of the length of the granular filament. Looks pretty strong. Then you're going to take me to see him. Okay, leave it to me. It's up to you. And got rewarded. Parker nodded in satisfaction. You can't sell me. I'll take you tomorrow. At this moment, there was movement behind him. Parker turned his head to look. It was Vincent who held up the glow stick. Bai Qingqing asked Vincent if he had eaten. Vincent was content to say that he had already eaten. It's already dark, and you can start sleeping. Bai Qingqing patted the side of the bed and said, Then you come here. In the evening, there is a white Qingqing lying on one side of her husband. It doesn't feel like the atmosphere is right. Parker suddenly thought after the two of them were gone. Vincent and Bai Qingqing had in-depth exchanges. It's hard to think about. He then proposed to Bai Qingqing to request injections. But Bai Qingqing refused. Parker said he hadn't been home for half a month. Some monkeys are in a hurry. Accidentally made Bai Qingqing hurt. After apologizing, Parker fell into a burst of grievance. Bai Qingqing didn't seem to be very good to Parker when he thought of this. Fair tomorrow, Curtis is going to sleep. Vincent has to work too. It's better to get a shot with Parker tomorrow. Early the next morning, Parker brought in delicious food. In order not to wake Curtis, there will be no window before the straw is removed. Vincent saw that it was dawn, and it was time for him to go out to work. But he was pulled by Bai Qingqing and let him eat breakfast before going. Parker was not happy to hear this. Sometimes the hot soup is made for Bai Qingqing. It wasn't made for him. He's going to be busy making the house. I'll help him later, Parker thought inwardly. If Vincent had built the house earlier, Bai Qingqing won't think about him anymore. At this time, Bai Qingqing quietly reminded Parker, Yes, 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 but you have to go first. Parker's eyes sparkled with gold. After a while, Parker went out and found the little snake. Because the little snake was found, Parker was thrilled, shouting loudly, "The little snake, haha. Finally found you." He knew that Parker's movement scared the little snake and wanted to run. I thought about finding the little snake. Relatives will love themselves more. Parker was even more excited. Reaching out, he grabbed the snake's tail. The little snake didn't know what Parker was going to do. Ducking into the hollow of the tree, the two of them tugged and pulled like this. Due to excessive exertion, the little snake's exhaustion burst suddenly. The little snake fainted in pain. This scared Parker a lot. If you're going to rip it off, you don't want to die. How can I explain to Jing Jing when I die? Parker tore the snake's skin. The little snake fainted in pain. Parker picked up the branch, gently poked the little snake's head. You don't want to die. Your mother called me to come to you. Here, Mom. The little right snake raised his head. Date, calm down. Take the little snake to see Bai Qingqing. And told the little snake that he couldn't just take it with him. Gotta find a place to hide first. Wait until the rain stops. He brought Bai Qingqing over to see him. Be careful when you're alone in the wild. There's a lot of longevity here. The little snake made two sounds. I thought to myself that I thought you were more dangerous. I'm gone, stay safe. At home, Bai Qingqing is still choosing clothes. Which one should I wear to meet the little snake? Dake Xiao Xiao walked over from behind. Holding Bai Qingqing, I have found the little snake. I'm amazing. How is he? When he came to Fusho outside, was he hurt? He lives in a tree hollow. It's safe. Then when can we meet? You can wait until the rain stops. Took Bai Qingqing out to breathe. Take the opportunity to get the little snake. Hear the good news. Bai Qingqing's face blossomed happily. At this time, Bai Qingqing said while eating that the time was up. Request an injection. Parker excitedly pinched off the branch. I haven't been back for half a month, and I'm not used to it. Hurry up and eat beautifully. After a while, the two of them got into the bed. Here comes the little fat stick. Chris also opened his eyes at this time. Witnessed the whole process alive. When the work was done, the orangutan fell into a deep sleep. Parker prepares to fetch water to wipe the ape. When I looked up, I saw Curtis beside me. Hold your head. Make a clattering sound. Parker didn't know why. Provoked Curtis. And the hunter ran away. Chris ignored Parker's villainous heart. Instead, walked straight over, covered Bai Qingqing with a quilt. In fact, Bai Qingqing is going to see the little snake. Course was heard, and in my heart, I acquiesced. Just let them see them once. Only this once. If it's too good for the little snake will be inseparable from Bai Qingqing and them. That would force Curtis to kill them. Heavy rain continued for more than a week. Finally ushered in the first sunny day. Bai Qingqing called Parker, and now it was time to go. Curtis asked in the back, pretending. Where are you going? I'll accompany you, Bai Qingqing, to turn his head. That Parker rushed to say. We have already agreed. We hung out alone. Good next time. Bai Qingqing didn't expect it. Curtis readily agreed. I thought to myself secretly. Maybe Curtis already knew something, but he doesn't care about it now. Hugging Bai Qingqing. With a whoosh, he jumped off the hollow of the tree. Curtis was left alone on top of the hollow in the tree. Watch them go away. Parker with Cypress. Qingqing came to the cave where the little snake was hiding. The little snake spotted Bai Qingqing. Walked over and made a PSPS sound, wow. When the boy was about to touch the little snake beast. But I saw him cross Bai Qingqing. Angry voices at Curtis. In the next second, he was fighting with Parker and Yo. Your dad bullied him. You're gonna bully him too. Don't fight anymore. When I got angry, the two of them stopped. The little snake beast turned its head and P.S. Mom swooped and rushed towards Bai Qingqing. Bumped into Bai Qingqing's body with a bang. Bai Qingqing hurriedly reminded loudly. Mom has a hand in her belly. But he saw the little snake with its own snake tail. Bai Qingqing has already been protected. You scare me. How is it going? Are you starving? What about your brothers and sisters? Humph. You still eat your brother's vinegar. Chris, are you bullying him? Look at him angry. You go find some food for Parker, but he can't be angry. This stinky snake beast and Chris have a virtue. Then he also got up to help Bai Qingqing go to make steamed eggs. Parker was looking for firewood. Bai Qingqing and the little snake in the cave are playing. Hold yourself up and let Mom see how old you are. Wow, the little snake grows so big. In a few years, it will catch up with your father. Little Snake is awesome to see Bai Qingqing and Little Snake intimate. Parker was instantly jealous. Throw the firewood directly to the ground. Make him steamed eggs with anger. What are you doing so close? It's all about to go around. In the blink of an eye, the next second it really went around. Bai Qingqing. Hey. Eating steamed eggs with small snakes. Thinking that he was still a little one when he was a child. It's grown so big now. It's been a long time since then. Oh, years. Parker said it was too early for them to go back. The little snake was very reluctant. Rushed to Bai Qingqing's arms again. Bai Qingqing hugged the little snake. Very reluctant to say goodbye to him. I'm very reluctant. Asked if Parker could bring the baby snake back to the tribe. I don't know if Chorus will accept him. Parker sighed. Speaking of Chorus, last time while he was away, I don't want to kill the little snake. Then Bai Qingqing dispelled and brought the little snake back. The thoughts of the tribe are good. Eat plenty of meat and grow stronger. You won't be afraid that your father will beat you. After Bai Qingqing kissed the little snake, Parker carried him and left the little snake. The parting of mother and son made Bai Qingqing heartbroken. Crying and trembling, Parker said worriedly, bring him out to make him happy. It's not that he was brought to cry. Huh, I don't cry or cry. Parker found the stump in front of him. There's a lot of fungus on it. There's some fungus over there. Shall we take some back? I'm okay. Pick some more. Well. Parker reached out and wiped the tears from Bai Qingqing's face. After stepping on some fungus, hugged Bai Qingqing and went home happily. And it is finally about to be born. Autumn is coming. Don't forget to get yourself a picnic. Parker and Bai Qingqing picked the fungus, and he brought it to the puddle and washed it. It's just a short distance from the lake. A purple head poked out. The person who came from the sword was Bai Qingqing. Lancer immediately surfaced. Finally seeing you again. Bai Qingqing also stepped forward to say hello. Lance's roommate has been gone for a long time. Your injuries are completely healed. Lancer nodded. You land females are so nice. You can conceive a child at a young age. Not like our merfolk. Pregnant with this cub, it means that life is coming to an end. The sissy girl smiled. And it is also about to be born. I'll show you when the time comes. Lanze was excited when he heard this. Really? Then I'll wait. Don't sleep yet. The girl thought for a moment. It is estimated that when an inn can go out, it's already the coldest and coldest period. You'd better be dormant. See how you remembered it, and I'll show it to you. You can't go back on that. Sicilians jumped back to the bottom of the water in excitement. The two also washed the fungus and prepared to go home. Bai Qingqing commanded, You'll have to help me get the little snake left on my clothes. The smell is washed away. Parker nodded. After a while, the girl was wrapped in a hide. Shivering, he returned to the hollow of the tree. Did Curtis Vincent have fun going back? How to change clothes. Because the clothes were wet when washing the fungus. Parker took it and washed it. I thought to myself, this excuse is perfect. Just take off the clothes that smell of small snakes. Let Parker destroy the corpse. Curtis hurriedly wrapped the girl in the covers. I didn't have a cold. I'll be with you in the future. With that, he wrapped the girl tightly and hugged her into his arms. Bai Qingqing often exhaled, thinking though busy has passed. But it feels so bad to lie to Curtis. So the next day, I went out with Curtis to have a meeting. It was some time again. The temperature quietly gets lower. The maple leaves have turned yellow. Before you know it, the heavy rainy season is over. Calculate the time. Huaicai also has more than 9 months, and it should be approaching her due date. Only listen to the dove's sorrow. The girl looked up and saw a wild beast. Catch the prey and fly over from the first class. Hurriedly roared at the leopards running under the trees. Get the hell out of here. Don't run out of the tribe. The leopards didn't seem to hear that. Excitedly running towards the outside of the tribe. Unexpectedly, he actually hit his head on Harvey, who was walking towards him. Fell on all fours. Harvey Blind Bay asked in a whisper, "Are you okay?" The two are looking forward to when the child will be born. Unexpectedly, Bai Qingqing was finally about to give birth. Seeing Harvey stop the tyrant, Bai Qingqing hurriedly yelled at Harvey. "Help me stop them. Drive them back." Harvey yelled at the leopards. Frightened, the leopards pointed to the gray and went home. The girl waved her hand gratefully. "Are you here for me? Then come up." Harvey is going to be handed over to Parker. Then they came to the hollow of the tree. The girl hurriedly greeted her grandmother. "Thank you so much. If only let them run out. I can't feel at ease for half a day today. You do something first, I still have something. Come later." Harvey nodded in agreement. Saw Bai Qingqing turn her head, roaring at Parker under the tree, the dead leopard. "Come and see the good cubs. If the cub is bitten, I'm not done with you." Harvey stepped forward and said, "Stop scolding Parker. That's how we all grew up." Bai Qingqing looked back, and I knew. But I couldn't bear to watch the cubs get into trouble. They're already stronger than the average cub. Because of my tubes, it may not reach the strongest strength. At least they're all alive. Harvey said, "Filial piety, okay. How does this boy feel today?" Seeing Bai Qingqing said the same as before. Nothing to feel. It wasn't time for Harvey to get back to that. Keep it in peace. Bai Qingqing thought to herself that if it was according to Vincent's calculation, after half a month they will not be born, and it wouldn't be Vincent's. Then there won't be much left over. I'd rather have another baby for Vincent. I don't want Anne's health to be bad. Seeing the girl so nervous, Harvey hurriedly comforted and said goodbye to the nervousness. I put the herbs under the hollow of the tree. I'll let Parker cook it for you later. The girl nodded. I heard a faint voice behind me. Harvey hurriedly waved his hand and said, "It occurred to me that there was something else. I'll go first." The smoke was gone. The girl looked at Curtis and smiled. "You were scared. It's time for someone's house. Aren't you hibernating? How to wake up? You are also waiting for an N to be born so that you will not sleep. Why don't you get some sleep first? When an N is born, I will tell you to get up and watch." Curtis looked at the girl dotingly. "It's okay. I can get through it." Gently caressing the girl's face. "I've heard that new words can be more painful. I will definitely accompany you." But unexpectedly, the words were not finished. The girl let out a scream. "Buldoon. My stomach hurts." Curtis hurriedly picked the girl up. "Are you going to give birth?" Look at it. A group of men gathered around to deliver the girl. Bai Qingqing is finally about to give birth. The girl suddenly had unbearable abdominal pain. Nearly fell to the ground. Curtis immediately transformed into a human form. Picking up the girl, he walked to the bed. "You bear with it. I'll help you pull up your skirt." Bai Qingqing hurriedly stopped it. "Wait, it's not that fast. You won't give birth until your water breaks. Last time it seemed to hurt for a long time and gave birth. But this time it hurts so badly. Even my back hurts. There was a sense of falling. Curtis hurriedly said, I'll call the veterinarian. Was pulled by the girl. No, it's useless to call him now. Wait a little longer. Curtis was still worried. Very uneasy. But I saw that the girl was so persistent. I had to agree for the time being. Then you cover the quilt. Don't get cold under a tree. Parker, who heard the noise, also hurriedly climbed up. Are you going to give birth? How's it going? Parker worriedly shook the girl's hand. It doesn't hurt. Seeing this, Bai Qingqing smiled and said that it didn't hurt anymore. Can't stretch out love. Parker became even more anxious when he heard this. Gave birth to air. The girl snorted and laughed, haha. Silly leopard. I'm a little sleepy at that. You go and look at the fire. You'll come up later when you're going to give birth. Parker looked reluctant. But last time I missed the birth of Tyrant. I don't want to miss it again this time. Bai Qingqing closed her eyes tiredly. It's up to you. See the girl sleeping. Parker turned to Curtis and asked, Will Qingqing sleep until midnight again this time? Curtis backed to him, not a mammalian orc, not clear. And now Xiaobai doesn't know if he fell asleep, still fainted. Just in case. You go and call the veterinarian to take a look. Parker hurriedly promised me to go. At this time, Vincent was thinking, Qingqing should be about to give birth. I'll have to speed it up. Let's do it for today. Vincent, who had been busy until midnight, also returned to the tree hole. But I saw that Harvey was also at home. Harvey said that Bai Qingqing began to have labor pains today. It's about to give birth. But listening to Parker's description of the symptoms should be false labor pains. If it's a false labor pain, it would take more than 10 days to give birth. Vincent looked at the girl distressedly. There are more than 10 days left in the mouth to repeat. Parker, who had been on the side for more than 10 days, also suddenly thought. He was born in more than 10 days. 9 times out of 10, this baby is Vincent's. No, and it came out. My house hasn't been built yet. Vincent immediately stood up, and I went to build the house. Qingqing can't be produced in a comfortable nest. Also, make sure that he can cultivate in a comfortable environment. So it was busy nonstop. The heroine's child is actually pregnant with dozens of levels. It's Neza who should have given birth. But unexpectedly, in order to make the beloved able to cultivate in a comfortable environment, Vincent began to build the house around the clock. The whole night was filled with tinkling sounds. Who makes any noise in the middle of the night? I also let people not sleep. The noisy birds scattered and flew away. More than 10 days have passed in a row. I was so excited that wow. What a coincidence, you've also become a panda eye. Ha! The other yawned and replied that it had been more than 10 days. The Tiger King has been beating day and night. I dare not speak out. I can only bear it. Suddenly, the banging stopped abruptly. What's going on? I saw Vincent standing on top of the castle, holding a hammer in his hand. The excitement was finally done. I haven't had time to get excited for too long. But he heard a shout from the direction of the tree hole. Vincent was startled. Could it be that Qingqing is about to be born? Hurry back to the tree hole. Just listen to Curtis's intersection with Xiaobai. How did this faint again? Harvey hurriedly said to make him some food. He hadn't eaten for most of the day. Hungry for sure. Parker hurriedly jumped out of the window. I'll prepare. But I saw that the soup in the pot had frozen over. I thought that there was still half a pot of soup stewed in the morning. It's almost finished on a regular basis. It was clearly not in good shape today. Qingqing, you have to hold on. After Parker has served the hot soup, I just saw Bai Qingqing open her eyes. You're finally awake. I'm hungry. I've stewed food for you. You eat it while it's hot, so I can keep my body. Bai Qingqing suddenly felt a sharp pain hit her. tightened the quilt, and yelled for help. It hurts. Parker was so frightened that he shuddered to save it. Help! Only listen to the thunder. The soup bowl in his hand fell to the ground. The soup spilled all over the floor. Ah, you're born. Hum Yo-Yo Beast is a real restoration of the production process. Moms have worked hard. Bai Qingqing suddenly felt a sharp pain hit her. Screams rang out from inside the tree hole. Seeing Bai Qingqing so painful, everyone gathered around and was nervous. Bai Qingqing gasped heavily. Sweat kept flowing. The intense pain kept coming. Parker saw this, turning around and clutching Harvey's clothes. How could this be? Think of a way to help him with his pain. Harvey was helpless for a while, and life and death were like this. This boy is big. Pain is inevitable, and there's no way to stop the pain. Everyone was taken aback. How so? Huck yelled at Harvey excitedly. It can't be that I've never heard of life. Females will hurt so much. Harvey felt guilty and didn't overdo it because it was too painful. I'm worried that if it gets out, the female won't be able to stand it. Reluctant to give birth to females. So, the leaders of each clan will ask us veterinarians to save their lives. Females are too scarce, and it's hard to conceive a Sezai for the reproduction of the race. It can only be so. Parker blushed with anger. I don't care if you multiply or not. I can't even protect Qingqing. What else do you want future generations to do? But I heard Curtis anxiously shouting Xiaobai behind him. Don't do that. Loosen your mouth quickly. I saw Bai Qingqing biting her lip hard. Blood slid down his lips. Curtis quickly broke the girl's mouth. Bai Qingqing trembled in pain. Screamed. The face looks very hideous. I was biting my lip again. Curtis hurriedly reached for his hand. Don't bite yourself. If you want to bite, bite me. Usually in front of the enemy. Curtis, who was as calm as water. I panicked at the moment. Bai Qingqing pushed Curtis's hand away. Curtis was in tears. Kissed the girl's forehead full. I don't hurt, but who knows that Bai Qingqing is bitter in her heart. It's my toothache. Your skin is so hard. Hurry up and get out. Mom's teeth are almost gone. Fortunately, at this time, Hawiti couldn't lose weight. Give him this bite. Your skin has scales that are too hard. His teeth couldn't take it. Bai Qingqing thought to herself, so good. My tooth was saved. Curtis handed Shibu to Little White's lips. The girl took a bite and took a bite. Curtis forced a smile and comforted Xiaobai. Don't be afraid. We're all there. In order to make Bai Qingqing feel at ease, all three forced a smile on their faces. Su looked at it. A group of men gathered around to deliver the girl. The child is about to come out. Bai Qingqing looked at the eyes and cried one by one. Also, ugly expressions. I want to be safe. Your dads are cowards. Let's do it, so that they can feel at ease. Suddenly, screams of pain continued to be heard from the hollow. Until nightfall, inside the tree hole, there were still bursts of screams coming from on and off. Everyone has been guarding the girl inch by inch. Bai Qingqing spat out the beast bones in her mouth. Tired and panting, I couldn't hold back the tears and said I couldn't give birth. I don't have any strength. If I can't cut my stomach open, take it out of it, okay? Everyone was so shocked that their faces turned blue. Don't say it won't. You're going to be fine. Tis also looked at by Qingqing's pained expression. Parker and Vincent hurriedly rushed forward to assist the girl. You'll be fine. But I heard Curtis sink his face and say, okay. As long as you can without pain, let me do whatever I want. He gently stroked the girl's face. I'll go with you after that. I don't allow Parker to burst into a thunderous outburst. Transform into a beast and pounce like Curtis. I'm not going to let you open the scares. Then, a large hand suddenly stopped Parker and stopped. Don't hurt Qingqing by mistake. Parker looked back at Vincent. Suddenly, I only heard the sound of lying down. Parker turned around and gave him a big mouth. It's all because of you. Qingqing is like this. You get the hell out of here. That's when it happened. Harvey, who was only listening to the side, suddenly yelled at him, "Stop arguing." Parker then turned around and noticed Harvey's movements. "Harvey, what are you doing? Is that where you can look?" I saw Harvey stick out his head and smile at everyone. The child is about to come out. Look at it. A group of men gathered around to deliver the girl. And it was finally born. This hair color. You don't have to guess to know who the child is. Harvey said. The child was about to come out, and after a while, suddenly there was a baby's cry in the night sky. Then there was a burst of shouting. Gave birth to it, gave birth to it. The crowd finally breathed a sigh of relief. Parker picked up an in and handed it to Harvey for inspection. Harvey handled an in and said that it was ready. It's a healthy little porcelain boy. Parker took in and into his arms, stepped forward and showed off the hum. A tiger smell. Sure enough, it's a tattoo. Suddenly, I only heard when Sun anxiously shouting behind him. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Parker was stunned. Hurriedly rushed forward. I saw streams of liquid flowing out of the quilt. The faces of everyone in the field were pale. Harvey immediately reported the medication. He stepped forward and said that I had brought herbs to stop the bleeding. Go and get some bees. Parker hurriedly agreed. The more Harvey yelled anxiously, the better. Hurry, hurry. At this time, Bai Qingqing was too tired. I fainted. Little by little time passed. At this moment, the used animal steps had been piled up into a hill. Harvey finally put his hand down. He stopped. Everyone was guarding the girl's side. Anxiously shouted Qingqing. Qingqing, wake up. But the girl was motionless. Parker asked, standing up and looking at Harvey to the side. Isn't Qingqing fine? I saw Harvey shake his head. He was too weak. Production is running out of energy. Something happened again. This situation. Females generally don't live long. When they heard this, they were all alarmed. Curtis held Xiao Bai tightly in his arms. You'll be fine. Parker asked again, what if it was a male? So weak. Can you still live? Harvey nodded. Male, of course. Parker was immediately excited. Qingqing's body is very strong. Stronger than some males. Male sex live. He will definitely live. Harvey, is there anything else you can do? Harvey thought for a moment and said that it was already midnight. It is when life is at its most vulnerable. Keep him warm. Don't freeze and talk to him all the time. Survive tonight. He might just be able to live. Look at it. The man in front of him wanted to attack the baby, but it turned out to be wagging his tail and coaxing him to play. Harvey commanded, keep him warm. Good to talk to him all the time. Survive tonight. He might just be able to live. Everyone came back together. Curtis put down Xiao Bai. Gently lay it down on the bed. Parker leaned forward and said, Qingqing, don't be afraid. How are you feeling? It doesn't hurt or not. Seeing this, Vincent also wanted to step forward and speak to Qingqing. Unexpectedly, Parker spun around and got in front of Vincent. Roar out, you hurt Qingqing like this. Not worth being here. Vincent for a while. Then he lowered his head guiltily, thinking about Qingqing. It's all my fault. As long as you can wake up, you can beat me and scold me as much as you want. Just let me stay by your side all the time. Qingqing at this time. Parker suddenly transforms into a beast form, pounced on Vincent, and told you to get out. Vincent in order not to injure Qingqing by mistake, and he stepped back. There was a loud bang. Vincent was thrown directly out of the tree hole by Parker. Because of guilt. Vincent didn't fight back. Let Parker fight. Maybe it's by blood. At this time, Anin pouted, whimpered, and cried. The sound was louder than the other. Suddenly, it turned into a wah-wah cry. Curtis looked at the people beside him. It's all about life. Xiao Bai will experience such a big pain. You still have the face to cry. I saw him stretch out the tail of the snake. Then he wagged the snake's tail. Gently coaxed an in. Xiao Bai, I know that you are really your own cub. Rest assured, we'll take care of him. Do you still hurt? Don't work too hard. Sleep if you want. With that, he leaned forward, kissed Bai Qingqing's forehead softly. I will always be with you. The screen turns, came to the stone castle. Vincent looked at the tall stone castle. Thought, Qingqing hasn't seen the stone castle I made for him yet. Am I really going to lose him forever? Vincent's heart welled up with heartache and sadness. Tears flowed uncontrollably. He stood in front of the cold, empty stone castle. There was a roar of fire. Qingqing, you must live. Curtis and Parker are also tight, guarding the girl's side. Tag after. I just hope that he can wake up soon. Bai Qingqing finally opened her eyes. It's just that this leopard should be disciplined and disciplined. Curtis and Parker have been, guarding the girl's side. Tag after. I just hope that he can wake up soon. Early morning. The first rays of the morning sun shone into the hollow of the tree. Curtis gently helped Bai Qingqing to her feet. Look at the person in your arms. Parker also stepped forward to hold Bai Qingqing's hand and said, Qingqing, the sky is bright. Why don't you wake up yet? With tears in his eyes, please wake up quickly. I can't lose you. Suddenly, I saw Bai Qingqing open her mouth. He sighed and said, both of them had their eyes wide open. Looking at the person in front of him, he was pleasantly surprised. Bai Qingqing continued, I was really tired. Curtis took the girl's hand. I tremble slightly too. I can't hide the joy in my heart. Unexpectedly, Parker stepped forward and shook the girl vigorously. Excited to Qingqing. You're awake. I knew you wouldn't die so easily. Bai Qingqing hurriedly roared in pain. Curtis saw this. The stupid leopard realized that he was sorry. Bai Qingqing breathed a sigh of relief and was fine. And then Parker hurriedly went to report Anin on the side. He's always by your side. Gently handed Anin into Bai Qingqing's arms. Give you a hug. Bai Qingqing looked at the baby in her arms. I couldn't help but ask, this is Anin? Why do you look so ugly? The little face is wrinkled. Parker said unremittingly, of course, ugly. Is this Vincent's word? Bai Qingqing was shocked when she heard this, and it was when Sin's child. Parker snorted, that's wrong. A tiger smell. It's not Vincent, who else can it be? That's when it happened. Vincent, who senses that his partner is awake. I also came to the entrance of the tree hole, calling Qingqing. Looking at the scarred partner in front of him, Bai Qingqing was worried about Vincent. How did you get hurt? Saw. A certain leopard beside him said arrogantly. The white crystal I bit was suddenly covered with black lines on her face. So angry that he kept bullying Vincent. Seeing this, Vincent thought to himself that Qingqing was obviously so weak. Still maintained. Hurriedly stepped forward to reassure me that I was fine. Do you still hurt? Bai Qingqing sighed. Of course it hurts. I didn't expect life and death to hurt so much. It's all torn. Look at it. The girl gave birth to a cub with the same tiger. How will the new-time father of the tiger react? Bai Qingqing sighed and said, I didn't expect life and death to hurt so much. It's all torn. But who knew that Vincent had recently lifted it? Let me see this intersection. Bai Qingqing hurriedly raised her hand to stop him. hurriedly handed an in his arms up. You see if anyone wants to hug him. Vincent let go of his hand, looking at the villain in front of him. Unbelievably, in the palm of your hand, and it is so small and soft. Bai Qingqing said with a smile. You probably didn't take a good look at him yesterday. Be careful. Vincent nodded yes. Then he stretched out his finger, gently touched Anne's little face. I thought to myself, this is the mercy of me and Qingqing. Suddenly, Anne's little hand was raised by itself. He took Vincent's fingers. Feel the soft touch coming from your fingertips. Vincent felt his heart touched. I was impressed. Looking at in his arms, I wondered if this was what it was like to be a first-time father. I'm a father. Vincent fondly said that he was so pretty. Same as Qingqing. Well, Bai Qingqing on the side couldn't help but feel for a while. Vincent's aesthetic is fine. He asked puzzled. It's the same as me. I thought to myself, this is obviously wrinkled like a little old man. Head the same. Vincent was still basking in the joy of becoming a new father. It's the same everywhere it goes. When I grow up, I must be the same as Qingqing. It's a big beauty. Looking at the two women in front of him, Bai Qingqing's heart also felt a burst of relief. Vincent is actually very good looking, and will definitely not be ugly. Maybe it's just nice to tickle. After a while, and then suddenly burst into tears. So Vincent, who was still in a negative state in the last second. The next second, I panicked and didn't know what to do. What's wrong with an? Bai Qingqing hurriedly stepped forward and said that it was okay. Give it to me, you must be hungry. I'm here to nurse him. Vincent immediately stood up and said yes. I'm going to get 10 bowls to pick it up. Bai Qingqing hurriedly spoke up to stop it, and there was no need to pick up the bowl. Vincent stopped. Sister Gu turned around. How do you ask? The girl is teaching several orcs how to be confined. Everyone obediently took out a small notebook. Meng flipped Vincent and scratched his head embarrassedly. I was nervous. I forgot how the females breastfeed. Bai Qingqing smiled. You are a father for the first time. The nervousness is understandable. Hurry up and get used to it. Vincent nodded his head like a rattle. By the way, Sure Bao was built yesterday. You and it can move in at any time. Bai Qingqing was so excited. That's great. Wait until I'm done with confinement. Let's move in. Finally able to live in a spacious place. Curtis asked, puzzled. What is confinement? Bai Qingqing raised her eyes and replied that it was a custom in my hometown. In my hometown, the female gives birth. You have to do confinement to recover your body. And it is similar to our children. It is good to be in good health as a confinement child. Vincent immediately got up and said, listen to you. What does the confinement look like? I'm going to look for it. Bai Qingqing was stunned. Immediately fluttered. A laugh aloud. Confinement is not a thing anymore. It's a month's time. The three of them hurriedly scraped together the money to admit it. Really sounded. Bai Qingqing continued. I'm not going anywhere this month. Recuperate at home. Do not get wet with cold water. Everyone hurriedly took out the small stone slab and remembered it. And there's more. Bai Qingqing thought about it, and she wanted to eat more grape soup. The words are not finished yet. Parker excitedly raised his hand to stew the grape soup. I'm familiar with it. Bai Qingqing thought about it again, and you can't blow cold wind. But I thought in my heart that I heard that I couldn't wash my hair yet. But this one is too sinful. Let's not talk about it. The three of them suddenly looked like good babies. He had a learned expression. Vincent held out his palm. Holding Bai Qingqing's slender little hand, he said, you can rest assured. I will definitely make you the best confinement possible. The girl smiled, then please. Anne's father. Results. Vincent is a very reliable father. In order not to let me blow the wind, He blocked all the gaps in the hollows with straw. Under my strong protest, only then did I leave a little gap for ventilation. Antique crevices. Vincent took the hides to eat and set them up. There was not a moment of rest. Parker changed his tactics to stew me all kinds of soups. I recovered very quickly. Plenty of milk. The baby's eyes couldn't be opened. What exactly causes it? Parker changed his tactics to stew me all kinds of soups. I recovered very quickly. Plenty of milk. Curtis has always been by my side. Said that he would wait until I was confined before going to sleep. And it is also surprisingly well-behaved. Eat and sleep. Quietly, Parker poked him in the face and didn't wash it. I thought it would, and it will be easier to carry than the leopards. But it was the sound of a frog. The sound of a baby crying could be heard inside the tree hole. Parker hurriedly coaxed it in. Obviously just finished eating. Why are you still crying? Are you feeling unwell? I thought that the boys would be very well behaved as soon as they were full. White crystal on the crystal. I looked at the crying little face, very in it. I wondered if he would be. Think of this possibility. Bai Qingqing hurriedly called Parker. Open the animal skin that encased an in. Parker hurriedly nodded in agreement. Unexpectedly, this one opened. Parker was stunned. A strong smell. Suddenly, it scattered in all directions. Bai Qingqing also looked at the scene in front of her. Fortunately, he was prepared. Pinched his nose. Sure enough, it's spicy. I had to smile awkwardly at Parker. First, given in a clean animal skin. Let's clean up the rest when Vincent returns. But it didn't work out. Parker didn't dislike it and took off the hide. Said no. I'll take care of an in. Bai Qingqing looked at Parker worriedly and said, but I thought that an in was Vincent's child. It's better to let Vincent clean up the excrement. But the words haven't been said yet. I saw Parker carefully pick up an in. Spoiling an in is our family's compassionate boy. It's not Vincent's a beast, is it? Little an in? No hurry, no hurry. We'll clean it up right away. Bai Qingqing suddenly caught a fishy smell. Fortunately, there is Parker. If this thing is changed, it will definitely not be good. It turns out that Parker is also a daughter slave. Not for a while. A clean animal skin wrapped in, and then also stopped crying, is lying down obediently. Bai Qingqing looked at an in, who was so obedient. I can't help but feel a little strange. Why didn't he keep his eyes closed? Obviously awake. Parker said when he saw this. Maybe you're tired of crying and close your eyes to rest. No, I'll check it out. Say it. The Platinum Sutra Hall stretched out its hand. I want to break an An's eyes and take a look. Unexpectedly, his eyes widened in horror. Brush sat up, nervously looked at Parker. And Anne's eyes couldn't be opened. And then finally opened her eyes. Such a beautiful little magnetic. Growing up will definitely be the first beauty of the master's degree. Bai Qingqing looked at Parker nervously. And Anne's eyes couldn't be opened. The two of them immediately became nervous. Parker hurriedly invited Harvey over. Harvey stepped forward to inspect it and said it was fine. Dead boy is delicate. When I was born, my body was not yet growing. It's normal not to open your eyes. Bai Qingqing was puzzled. But I can't even peel off an Anne's eyelids. Harvey smiled at this. His eyes are now photophobic. I'm sure I'll close my eyes hard. Naturally, you can't pick it up. Don't be hard-picked. When the time came, he himself would open his eyes. Parker was shocked. Immediately picked up Harvey and yelled at such an important matter. Why don't you say it? Harvey hurriedly waved his hand. I was nervous and forgot to blame me. Blame me. At this time, Bai Qingqing finally lost her breath. It's okay. You can grow your body with peace of mind. Moms and dads will always be there for you. You can see it as soon as you open your eyes. The days that followed, Bai Qingqing has always been guarding an Anne's side. Curtis also took out Lan Zisong's light bead to tease her. Playing it in seems to like Parker very much. Of course, I was in charge of cooking during this time. Every day, he changes his tricks to Bai Qingqing, boiling all kinds of soups. Vincent transforms into a soft tiger cushion. The family happily gathered together. Not to mention how heartwarming the picture is. Unconsciously, the entire outside of the tree hole was covered with an Anne's diapers. It's a spectacular scene. Suddenly, I heard a sound from the hollow of the tree. Gotta exclaim. Vincent immediately looked up and quickly climbed into the hollow of the tree. Anxiously said, "What's wrong?" Why did they see the three of them staring at it intently? Bai Qingqing turned around and smiled, and then opened her eyes. Vincent was also ecstatic when he heard this, which was great. After 7 days, I finally opened my eyes. Let me see. Vincent hurried forward. But when he looked down, instantly calmed, I saw him with a pair open. The big eyes of the watery car's lawn. Pair it with these thick and long lashes. And crystal fair skin. It's just a little beauty who has come to life. The people present who watched it directly were amazed. Bai Qingqing was so proud that it was so beautiful. When I grow up, I must be much more beautiful than me. Even more beautiful than Qin. It must be the first beautiful female of the master. Huck, go get Harvey. Help and check her eyes. See if there are any problems. Unexpectedly, Vincent stepped forward to stop him, saying no. He reached out and hugged Anin carefully. Said that males are too dangerous. Anin is so beautiful. Do not allow other males to see. Parker, who had just reacted, also immediately stood up. That's right, no one can watch it. Neither can Harvey. When you come, you will get a discount on your legs. This girl, he actually has 3 cute orc fathers. A strong women's coalition had also been formed. Thinking about the wolf-like males, Parker and Vincent were adamantly opposed. Let any male see an in. Look at the scene in front of you. Bai Qingqing was speechless for a while. I thought I had to turn to Curtis for help. Unexpectedly, I saw Curtis who dared to move an in. I ate whose expression I had. Bai Qingqing was even more speechless. Why don't you even have Curtis? I saw that these 3 orcs in my own family actually formed one fatherly guardian alliance. This battle, I'm afraid there won't be any male gallant enough to get closer. Bai Qingqing really couldn't bear it. Yelled at the 3 of them. You're enough. I'm afraid it's a veterinarian. And it has a problem with his eyes. He was speechless again. What to do if treatment is delayed? The 3 of them stopped. Looked at an inn with blank eyes. Shilly-shully. After a while, it's hard to squeeze out 2 words. Thereupon, I saw Curtis hiding in a tree hollow, covering his little face. Only 1 pair of eyes were revealed. Said to Harvey, you helping him to see if there is any problem with her eyes. Do not have physical contact. Vincent punches, smashed the slate in his hand. Except for the eyes. You can't see anything else. I can't say anything about it. You know what we're capable of. Harvey was speechless. It doesn't have to be that way. And so it went on for more than 10 days. Platinum Kimmin yawned boredly. Let me go out and breathe. It's okay to open the door and blow the wind. I'm going to suffocate. Vincent was born and refused. No, you can't blow cold wind during confinement. Bai Qingqing instantly looked like a deflated ball. Lie on the quilt. I thought about this day and day. This doesn't let that. I knew it early. I didn't tell them about confinement. Then I thought about Vincent, a stuffy tiger. See how I cure you? He shouted. Vincent saw Bai Qingqing turn around coquettishly. Just open a crack. It's okay to cover it right away? Please. Facing such a white crystal, Vincent felt short of breath. Even his speech became stuttering. Oh, I see Vincent's expression. Bai Qingqing couldn't help lowering her eyes. A smile from the king. Unexpectedly, I saw Vincent don't turn his head with difficulty. No, you're going to be confined. Bai Qingqing suddenly drooped her head angrily. Don't turn around and hum. Ignore you. Vincent rubbed his arm against the girl and comforted. Don't be angry. Didn't you say that you would get sick if you blow the wind during confinement? We're all with you. Would it be nice to hold on for a few more days? Bai Qingqing was aggrieved. But the tree hole is too small. Do I want to go to a bigger place? Suddenly, a flash of inspiration occurred to me. By the way, he turned his head to look at Vincent. Plenty of food and spacious. Let's move in now. Sit there for the rest of your confinement. Under the girl's bitter pleading, the family finally decided to move into the luxurious castle. Resident Bai Qingqing said. Plenty of food and spacious. Let's move in now. Sit there for the rest of your confinement. Vincent still had a stern face. Sue returned and couldn't move now. You're going to be confined. After sitting, we'll move. Bai Qingqing was immediately angry and got up. I'm all right. I'm not going to be confined. I'm going out. I thought that there are many pastimes in modern times. Let me stay at home for as long as I want. But skinny is nothing. I spend my days in a small tree hole. Ate, slept, ate. I'm going crazy. Parker saw this. The skin at the mouth of the tree hole was lifted. Looked out. It wasn't windy outside today. Why don't we move? It's rare to see Qingqing lose such a temper. It must be suffocating. Bai Qingqing suddenly put the top of her head like a rattle. Let's move in early. Curtis can also go to bed early. Then I'll clean up now. With that, Parker rolled up his sleeves and got ready to go. Bai Qingqing also clapped her hands on the side, cheering hard. Parker is the best. But unexpectedly, when Parker just wanted to act, a large handkerchief slapped on top of the wooden box. Parker said unhappily, "Want to fight?" Vincent didn't speak. I just thought that Qingqing said, if the confinement is not done well, it will leave the root of the disease. In any case, Qingqing must be allowed to finish the confinement. Then, a small hand reached over and grabbed him and said, Vincent, it's a short walk to Stoneford. I promise not to wander around. We're more and can't blow the wind. Besides, the females here are not confined in the first place. If you don't believe me, you can go to Harvey and ask. He certainly wouldn't object either. Parker immediately stood up. There's no need to go through the hassle of looking around. Then he came to the entrance of the cave, lifted the hide, and shouted Harvey. Can Qingqing go out now? Harvey, who was cooking herbs at home at this time. My hands shook in fright by the sudden roar. I almost scattered the herbs in my hand. Of course, I had no choice but to go back. Breathable helps the body recover. Bai Qingqing also smiled at Vincent. You hear Harvey say it's okay. Holding his cheeks, he begged, you can promise me. Okay, this is a mermaid who can blow bubbles. He was in the cold winter months, waiting for the arrival of the girl. But when I saw it for the first time, I was shocked. Oh my God, in this world, how can there be such a beautiful life? Bai Qingqing held her cheeks and pleaded. Just promise me. Okay, Vincent nodded and said hard. In fact, I was relieved in my heart, since Harvey said so too. Then I'm relieved. Bai Qingqing suddenly jumped up. It's great to pull Parker and cheer. Parker packs his bags. Ready to go. Vincent also looked at Bai Qingqing's back. I thought to myself that sometimes it was better not to be too stubborn. Qingqing's happiness is more important than anything else. And at this time by the puddle, a beautiful man with a Chiron hair is lying on the shore, sighing boredly. It's been more than 10 days since Qingqing gave birth to this baby. When will you come and see me? It's like seeing him. When I was thinking about it, suddenly someone shouted Lanze. You're not dormant yet. Lanze looked back excitedly at Qingqing. It's finally waiting for you. Didn't see your Tsu's eye. How can I be dormant? Bai Qingqing smiled. You are really persistent. But I thought to myself, if we hadn't moved today, we would have passed by here. He probably didn't have to wait any longer. But seeing that Lanze really returned, I was willing to wait for as long as I wanted. Let me see what your porcelain looks like. Parker was displeased that it was so windy. What to see? Let's go. Lanze immediately panicked when he heard this. Wait, I got away. Let's talk about it. Immediately, a large windproof bubble was blown. Put the porcelain in the bubbles. It won't be blown over by the wind. Chapek raised his little head. Just like your little balloon shatters at the touch of it. Bai Qingqing opened his mouth and said, Lanze, the bubbles are strong. It'll be fine for a while. Show him. Parker reluctantly agreed. Okay, just a moment. Let's talk about it. He gently put it into the bubble. Don't forget to warn Lanze not to touch his hands. Otherwise, I will bite an eye. Lanzer didn't care about Parker's threat at all, chatting with Qingqing on his own. Parker's teeth itched with anger. The hand clenched into a fist. At this time, Lanze suddenly suffocated in on the side. Immediately froze. I saw him with a pair of big watery eyes. Long eyelashes fluttering. Oh my God! How could there be such a beautiful creature in the world? This girl is so beautiful because she looks so good. She was spoiled by a group of orcs and became a little princess. Lanze froze when he saw Anin for the first time. Oh my God! How can there be such a beautiful life in the world? After a while, he said goodbye to Lanze. The family walked towards the castle. Bai Qingqing couldn't help but think. It seems that Anin will have to be kept at home in the future. Take good protect. Even Lanze saw Anin like this. Other orcs must be more exaggerated. In case Anin is made lawless by a group of orcs. What to do when she grows into a second Rosa? Just think about it. Just listen to the sound of awe. Bai Qingqing shouted helplessly. My daughter is so beautiful and worried. It's better to look ordinary. At least a lot of dangers can be avoided. Not for a while. The group came to the tall world protection. The leopards were immediately excited, whining and whining. Bai Qingqing couldn't help but sigh. It's a high wall. Vincent explained. This is what I added when you were in confinement. If you can block the wind, you won't catch a cold if you live in it. Let's hurry inside. Say it, Vincent called the police. Bai Qingqing was the first to walk into the stone castle. After entering the stone fort, Vincent carefully put Bai Qingqing down. Looking at the huge courtyard in front of me, Platinum Golden Shield plays the role of Mao Jingguang. So big yard. The left side can dig a fish pond and install a swing. On the right, you can plant flowers and build a grape trellis. The arrangement was a pleasure. Seeing that Bai Qingqing likes this stone castle so much, Vincent stepped forward and said with the girl's shoulder, this stone fort has a total of 5 floors. It's all yours, but it's cold now. First on the first floor. Vincent took the girl's little hand. Come in and see the layout inside. Do you like it or not? I saw that the cargo racks and windows were ordered in the stone fort. Curtains were also made from animal skins. The bed was also raised with wooden planks. There is also a wooden cabinet next to it. Bai Qingqing looked at everything in front of her. I was stunned for a moment. It really felt like his original world. Unexpectedly, you can still see such a familiar picture in the beast market. Bai Qingqing was suddenly moved to tears. Vincent saw this. Immediately panicked. I did as you described. The look of your hometown is furnished. Isn't it not very good? Do you want me to rearrange it? Bai Qingqing wiped her tears. Looking back now. Very good. I especially like it. Thank you, Vincent. The newborn baby had been poisoned. Poisoning occurs every full moon night. The pain is unbearable. Bai Qingqing wiped her tears. Looking back and smiling, I like it very much. Thank you, Vincent. Vincent reached out and gently wiped the tears from the corners of the girl's eyes. Looked at Bai Qingqing full affectionately. If you like it, it's fine. We don't need to say thank you between us. Looking at Vincent, who was always so down-to-earth and reliable in front of him. Bai Qingqing threw herself into his arms. It's good to have you. The two of them don't know how long they have been tired. Parker on the side couldn't bear it. He coughed lightly twice and said hurry up and pack his luggage. And then is hungry. Gradually, night fell. Bai Qingqing lay on the comfortable wooden bed. Hold an in your arms. I thought that he slept after eating and pulling every day. Surprisingly quiet and obedient. Couldn't help but reach out and touch Ann's little face. What a good baby. White crystal. Jing bowed her head and kissed Ann's pink shaoli. At this time, Parker, who was busy, also walked in. He stretched and said that the room was so dark. Curtis didn't know where to run either. As soon as he came, he was gone. Bai Qingqing thought for a moment. Curtis must have been dormant under the stone castle. We walked a little lighter later. Parker opened the curtains first. Disdain for the lazy snake. I'm afraid we're stomping our feet on it. He won't be woken up. Qingqing, you see, today's moon is big and round. It's a full moon night. Bai Qingqing was overjoyed and said it was really beautiful. It seems that we have chosen a good day to move. But I didn't notice. At this time, An in his arms was wrinkling his little face, breaking out in a cold sweat, a very pained expression. Then it became wow. This one burst into tears. The voice was louder than the other. It looked very painful. Vincent, who rushed to hear the movement, also hurriedly asked, "Why didn't it cry? Is it time to change diapers?" Parker reached out and checked. Urine is not dry. And it just ate it just now. It shouldn't be hungry either. I saw it and cough a few times. One mouth spits out all the milk you just drunk. Seeing this, everyone immediately worried. Hurriedly instructed Vincent, but invited Harvey. Vincent immediately took on the form of a beast. Leap out. Quickly headed straight in the direction of Harvey. Suddenly, Vincent seemed to think of something. Hurriedly stopped, glancing back at the moon. I thought that today was the night of the first month. Could it be that my xie poison was passed on to Anin? The woman knelt in front of the baby. The cry is heartbreaking. What kind of illness did Anin have? Eat enough. There was a heart-rending cry of a baby. Harvey was holding Anin in his arms and examining it carefully. Bai Qingqing asked worriedly, "Didn't it catch a cold?" Harvey shook his head no. He had no colds or fevers. Parker finally asked Shisho to answer him a question. And given the world, the problem is that there are a few temple beasts underneath this. Shisho thought for a moment. Earnestly replied, "There is already a lion's head here. The temple beast is the absolute boss. But just over a month ago, here comes another Seawind white tiger beast. Many orcs have taken refuge in the white tiger. Their two waves of power are incompatible. The competition for ore resources is also very fierce." As soon as I heard the Sven white tiger beast, all three of them looked at each other tacitly. Bai Qingqing looked at it unhappily. It must be Vincent. Sure. I told them everything I knew. Finally, he looked at everyone pitifully. Curtis curled up the gas with his snake's tail, asked in a cold voice, "Do you remember who you just met? Did something happen?" A shudder under the almsgiving. Stammered down and met nothing. The villain understood. Wounds on my body. It is also caused by someone snatching the world with villains. Curtis let it go. The ore was also thrown to him. The corpse beast picks up the ore. Immediately fled without looking back. The woman was finally released from the sack. Sweat had already soaked her clothes. The corpse beast on the opposite side picked up the oar, immediately fled without looking back. The people came to the cave. I started packing my luggage. Fortunately, Enro was very well behaved this time. I haven't made a sound. The white fox that I just missed. Definitely Vincent. Looks like he's safe here. Come to think of this, Bai Qingqing was busy with an Anne's filial piety to an in. Soon you will be able to see your father. I'm not happy, and it seems to be able to understand a little. Stretch out your chubby little hands. Happy hand dancing. Pakra took up a piece of animal skin and draped it over Crystal. Vincent is so famous. It's certainly not hard to find. It's all rocks underneath, although sturdy. But it's cold and damp. It's not hotter than the desert above. Be careful to keep warm. Then he brought 2 more pieces of jerky to Qingqing. Let him eat something to cushion his stomach first. Bai Qingqing took the jerky. He began to chew hard. Parker ran to the side and turned into a beast. Rub it all over the place, thinking about rubbing off the smell of the previous resident. It's a little safer. Curtis ruffled Crystal's hair. While tying his hair, he said, "Xiao Bai, you're here to stay. I'll go find Vincent. Parker protects you." Parker stepped forward in displeasure. "Why should I stay at home?" Curtis Dock glanced at him. The average strength of the recipients here is higher than that of the outside world. You are prone to death. Xiao Bai will be sad. Parker gritted his teeth in anger. Bai Qingqing had to sigh helplessly. Let's start a round. Parker, you listen to Curtis. He's faster. Let's find Vincennes and the antidote. I don't go back sooner. Parker then agreed aggrievedly. Then he went to the side and continued to rub the smell. Don't forget to turn it over. Not for a while. Curtis pulled Qingqing's hair back. Tell him to sleep here when he has eaten enough. Be sure not to walk around. As long as you're safe. I was relieved. Bai Qingqing nodded obediently. Said next to Curtis's cheek. It's eerie here. You have to be careful, too. The two were attached to the half-reward later. Curtis got up and went out to find Vincent. After Curtis is gone, Parker hurriedly stepped in front of Crystal. It's just right to open your mouth and smile. We can be alone together. Ha! After that, he rubbed it on Qingqing's body. Bai Qingqing persuaded him to take the opportunity to rest. If there is movement, I will call him. So Parker decided to sleep at the door. Tell Qingqing to call him directly if there is anything. Also, try not to make loud noises, so as not to attract the attention of others. The woman is a ticking time bomb. If it is discovered, it will ignite the flames of war. Parker reminds Qingqing not to make loud noises, so as not to attract the attention of others. Bai Qingqing nodded. I thought about myself as a female. How like a bomb. Do you want to disguise yourself? Come to think of this. He hurriedly grabbed the dirt from the side and wiped it off his face. Wait until your whole body is covered with dirt. He looked at his masterpiece with delight. Not bad. Parker fell asleep on his stomach at the entrance of the cave. But I don't know behind the stone wall in the distance. There's also a group of orcs hiding from them. After a wolf beast spotted them, hurriedly went back to inform and brought Sven to the loss. Sven asked if they had really stayed. These 2 males definitely have eccentricities. Have you heard why they kept it? The Pathfinder wolf beast shook its head. Call them wary. I didn't dare to approach it at all. Can only hide from a great distance. It's not real. The foreman waved his hand and forgot it. I don't expect you to be of much help. The wolf beast told him that the snake beast had left. Now the hole is very thin. Don't be stupid now. The foreman beast snorted in displeasure when he heard this. Am I afraid of that unwritten snake beast? Do you still need to force him to deal with the sudden thinness? Someone who can come in through quicksand. They are all orcs with the highest status in Yinqing. King Xie made it impossible for us to attack them. Otherwise, it is death. The wolf beast pointed to the repeated weighing tests. There was another burst of bragging about the four mongers. Only then did the four-dimensional beast poke its head out from behind the stone wall. I want to see if they're magnetic. And the other side of the time, Curtis also came to the area. Crowded places. I'm looking for it from cave to cave. I've been looking for a long time. There was still no sign of Vincent. I thought to myself that Vincent was famous underground. But the underworld is too big. Authentic everywhere. It's like a labyrinth. Vincent saw the dragon again, but he couldn't see the end. I asked a few orcs in a row. No clues were found for Vincent. Forget it, let's go further. An hour later, Parker was slowly waking up. Look around. See that Curtis has not returned. He went back to the cave to check on Qingqing's condition. At this time, and I had just finished pulling. Bai Qingqing was burying the sand for him. Parker hurriedly stepped forward and patted the ash on his hand. Asked him if his fingers hurt. Bai Qingqing smiled helplessly. You and I make tofu. Wait for Parker to look up, only to find that Qingqing's face was full of dirt. It's hilarious. It's like a piece of wood with eyes. Bai Qingqing listened to Parker's description, but he smiled. I thought it would be nice to do that. They will no longer be recognized. That's when it happened. Just listen to a loud bang. The two hurriedly turned around. Oops, and I was frightened by the sound. Wow, I cried loudly. Bai Qingqing hurriedly covered it with her hand. I thought this was really the end. The leopard opened its bloody mouth. Bite hard at the blond man. A huge stone fell into the hole, and then was so frightened that she burst into tears. Parker immediately got up to investigate. Tell Qingqing to stay in the cave. Don't come out no matter what happens. Then we came to the entrance of the cave. I found a group of orcs fighting. It turned out to be for the fight for ore. The ox kicked the stones on the ground and flew away. Then he fell into the hole. Shocked and in. Parker immediately breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be just for the time of looting the mine. It is not because of them. But when he looked back, I saw an and still crying. An orc with sensitive ears outside the cave. The cry of the hen was immediately heard. The four-man beast laughed towards the entrance of the cave. There were female cubs. The sheeviness actually brought the female cubs. This boy can't live without his mother. There must also be an adult female here. Grab him and say it. I didn't forget to lick the corners of my lips. Extremely excited. Bai Qingqing immediately took in and into her arms. Berth coaxed him not to cry anymore. Parker was standing outside the cave. A murderous aura of spiritual power emanated from his body. Shouted the Chinese people. But the rootless beasts here are not afraid of life and death. Life has long been meaningless for them. The four-man beast immediately strode towards the cave. Parker also accelerated forward without showing weakness. Only a remnant of the speed of light remains. Everyone was directly stunned by Parker's speed. All they saw was a golden shadow. I saw Parker Gong come forward. Sharp, sharp claws stretched out, straight towards the four-dimensional beast. The four-man beast was startled. Thought, this thin man dared to attack himself without fear. Even if it's a rootless beast in the dungeon, I don't dare to seek death like this. Unless there is sex in it. Life is also something to protect. Case. Then you go and die. Come to think of this, the four-dimensional beast was also immediately transformed into a beast punishment. The mouth of the blood basin was opened, biting down on Parker's arm. Parker immediately dodged the claws with a dodge. And don't forget to catch on top of his head. Left a deep trail of blood. Then another gale. Rushed to the rear of Svenmon. Aim at his back. It was a hard bite. At this time, Sven let out a roar in pain. Blood gushed out of his mouth. He endured the pain. twisted his head, and bit down on Parker's neck for a second time. Parker looked up in surprise, immediately relieved, quickly jumped to the side. He spat the hair in his mouth. Preparations for a second attack began. Sven's show had already been provoked. He opened his mouth and lunged at Parker frantically. Parker was bitten and was badly injured on the ground. Life is in danger. Svenmon is angered by Parker. Open your mouth wide. Rushing madly at Parker. Parker didn't have time to breathe back. Then he was forced to start a second battle. See the Formon approaching quickly. He immediately went to look for it. Kick on the stone wall. A backflip jumps. Apparently dodged the attacks of the Seawind beasts. The sword didn't bite. The Formon immediately turned around. Started a battle with Parker to chase me and flash. I almost bit it just now. The rootless beasts in the distance chatted anxiously. It's just a little bit worse. But don't worry. The strength of the lion's head is terrifying. It can survive here for a long time. Strength. Definitely much tougher than the orcs on the ground. I just didn't expect a salmon from above. But it can be under the all-out attack of the lion's head. Survived so long. He even bit a lion's head. It seems that the orcs who can mix to the top are really powerful. I saw that the two beasts were still circling. The rootless beasts suddenly turned their heads to look at the hole beside them. Hole. I heard the sound of magnetic crying coming from inside. They squinted at each other and smiled. An evil plan came flooding back to him. Wait for eye contact. The rootless beasts ran towards the cavern. Parker splashed them with his afterglow. I don't feel good in my heart. Immediately turned his head in the direction of Wu Ginsho. There was an earth-shattering cry. Wu Ginsho saw that he was discovered. They were all scared. The four-piece beast behind him saw the right moment. I saw that Parker had a flaw. Immediately, a flying body threw itself towards his waist. He took a big bite on Parker's waist. Parker snorted in pain. The body fell to the side. As the wound deepens, he opened his mouth wide. There was a heart-rending roar. A large amount of blood gushed out of his mouth. Parker did his best to get his last touch. The hind leg kicked the stone wall, bounced aside, dodged the four-piece beast, and continued to bite. But a large piece of flesh was bitten off from his waist. Right now, the leopard beast print on Bai Qingqing's chest began to flash constantly, in the arms, and it also seemed to sense a bad mood. I cried even harder, looking at the flickering leopard animal prints. Bai Qingqing understood the seriousness of the situation outside the cave. Suddenly nervous, with a large amount of blood flowing out of the waist. Parker lay on the ground, his ears drooping, motionless. Seeing the fierce battle outside the door, it suddenly became quiet. Parker was nowhere to be seen. Big teardrops slipped down from Bai Qingqing's eyes. He secretly prayed to Parker in his heart. You must live. On the occasion of the death of a thread, the woman found a way to escape. The leopard beast eagle on Bai Qingqing's chest kept flashing. Parker was nowhere to be seen. That's when it happened. The two Wu Ginsho walked towards the cave excitedly. Bai Qingqing's face was black and blue. When I'm thinking about what to do, I saw Parker rushing over quickly with his body propped up. One bite bit Wu Ginsho's calf. Shake it hard, throwing it into the distance. The lion's head saw the orcs flying in. He was very angry at his unauthorized actions. Immediately raise your claws and step forward. Bit off his neck in one bite. The rest of the rootless were frightened by this and retreated. Don't dare to go near the cave again. Cadre Bai Qingqing saw that Parker was still alive. The excitement on my face was so good. But then I smelled a strong smell of blood. I thought that the city of Pakba was seriously injured. He asked Parker worriedly as he got up, "Are you okay?" Parker snorted in response to crystalline. Bai Qingqing listened to his voice. It's kind of neutral. It doesn't look very weak. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. But there were so many orcs outside the cave. Parker definitely can't beat it. Curtis has to come back. Bai Qingqing thought if she went out now. The mechanic of emergency summoning Curtis is here again. I don't know if it works. But then he shook his head again. No. In case Curtis hasn't had time to come back yet. What should I do if I was torn apart by them? Forget it. Or wait for Parker to hold on to us. Parker. You have to do it. But I can't sit still. First bury and in your luggage. Just in case something happens to you. It can also ensure the glimmer of life in an inn. Come to think of this. Bai Qingqing hurriedly got up and walked towards the luggage with the help of the stone wall. But one of my feet accidentally tripped over the luggage. He hurriedly reached forward and shaved forward. That's what makes up the body. But unexpectedly, the soil on the stone wall was cut off. The big money Bai Qingqing couldn't help but forget. This wall is so soft. He raised his hand again and slashed hard. After planing the wall, I found a pit inside. He immediately took out the light bead that Lanze had given. I took a picture of it. It's really a passage. It is said that there are 3 holes of cunning rabbits. This hole, it should have been the last householder who dug for his life. Let's talk about it. So he picked up a stick and dug it hard. I wonder neither Curtis nor Parker found out. But I accidentally touched it. This is thanks to their own garbage power. It didn't take long. The passage was dug through. Bai Qingqing poked her head out from the other end of the tunnel. The man turned back. The corners of the lips are slightly raised. Lungs snorted. Bai Qingqing dug through the tunnel, poking his head out from the other side of the tunnel. I looked around, see that there is no one here. It seems that it must be taken with him quickly. Just find a place to hide. Parker was able to sense his bearings. As long as you're safe. With Parker's nimble skills, it shouldn't be hard to get out. Before that, Bai Qingqing still has to disguise herself. So he grabbed a few more handfuls of dirt, wipe it off your face. Then he picked up an inn and crawled out of the tunnel. While crawling, he reminded Daonin, don't cry when you're outside. It didn't take long. He successfully climbed out of the tunnel with an inn. Bai Qingqing held on to the stone wall and slowly landed on the ground. I thought it had finally arrived. It should be safe now. No matter what, you have to find a place to hide first. Right now. Behind the stone wall, behind him, a figure was silently watching him. Bai Qingqing couldn't help but feel a beam on her back. I looked back. How? Suddenly, it felt like a pair of eyes were being stared at. But he didn't find anyone. I thought of someone. It should have pounced on it as soon as possible. Maybe it's my own delusion. I didn't think much about it. Turning around, he continued to look for a place to hide. And at this time, Parker is fighting against the lion's head. I also felt that something was wrong. He sensed Qingqing. The distance from him is getting farther and farther away. I couldn't help but skim the hole. I thought if Qingqing was caught out of it, it's bound to be a sensation. It's impossible to go silent. So why is he moving? And he was not used for his due protection. Presumably, there was no danger. Analyzed to this, he had an idea. Qingqing may have found another outlet on her own. But Parker isn't entirely sure yet. Gotta find a chance to rush into the cave and have a look. So he suddenly slammed it hard. Rush into the cavern. The lion head saw that he wanted to run. Hurley got up to catch up. It can be seen that the direction in which he ran was actually in the cave. I thought that this weight loss would definitely die. In a narrow cave, the advantage of being thinner cannot be exerted. It's not for me to bite at that time. But when he came to the cave, he was suddenly dumbfounded. He looked around. The people saw him running in. Turn your head into the arrow. There is a passage next to the luggage. The last of Parker's figure had just flashed through it. He let him escape. The lion roared, immediately swooped towards the passage. But the body is too big. It was stuck in the hole and couldn't move. seeing the weight loss run away from his eyes. The lion's head roared. The rootless beast outside the cave listened. I don't know what's going on inside. They all stepped forward curiously and looked at it. But I saw the lion's head stuck at the entrance of the passage, pushing his hind legs between two fires. The rootless beast gate couldn't help but burst out laughing. The dignified four-man beast was actually stuck in the mouth of the cave. Parker looked back as well. The corners of his mouth snorted slightly. The man leaned over and hooked Crystal's chin. The eyes are full of innocence. Parker looked back at Sven. The corners of his lips snorted slightly. Then he turned his head and ignored it. I only relied on my heart's induction to find Qingqing. He sensed it. Bai Qingqing was in the stone pile in the distance. He telepathically communicated to Qingqing. Let him rest assured to hide there first. He forgot to look at the lion's head behind him. Seeing that he was still stuck in place, he did not move a minute. Then he ran in other directions, distracted the rootless beasts. The back half of the lion's head is stuck outside the passage. He struggled to thrash his hind legs. But I still can't get in. The rootless beasts behind them saw the scene, squinted and smiled. Then he stretched out his claws. With the mentality that I can destroy the lion's head by luck, lunged forward. But they underestimated the foreman's abilities. As long as there is a threat, he sensed it quickly. Then the hind leg kicked backwards, kicked the rootless beast out of the way. He turned his head back and sighed. After exiting the passage, he angrily rebuked, "Do you want a rebel?" The rootless beasts were so frightened that they immediately fled. The lion's head thought to himself in this cave, presumably they won't be able to get anywhere. I'll find them sooner or later, tear them apart. The rest of the rootless beast gate sword is gone, and there is no excitement to see. And they dispersed. The rootless beast said as he walked. They all ran after the beast. Maybe the female is hiding nearby. Another rootless beast agreed. So they went about looking for it. Bai Qingqing immediately covered her mouth. The atmosphere didn't dare to come out. Personally reminded Anin in his ear that Anin was obedient. Don't make a sound. Anin is sensible. I also learned to cover my little mouth like a mother and be careful. But right now, the stone behind him was lifted by an orc, Kume, and grinded away the small stones that stood in the way one by one. Bai Qingqing heard the sound, nervously looking up and whispering who Curtis was. "Are you back?" The man listened to Curtis, immediately froze in place. Bai Qingqing. Only then did he take a closer look at the man's figure. I suddenly felt bad in my heart. Oops, it can't be Curtis. Vincenz doesn't look like this. It couldn't be Parker. He immediately ducked backwards. Zheng Yu shouted. But he saw the man stretch out his hand and gently pick up his whereabouts. Bai Qingqing looked into the man's eyes. There is a moment of vision of God. I saw his slightly drooping eyes, full of innocence. It doesn't make people feel any sense of danger when they see it. No. Bai Qingqing immediately retracted her head. I thought to myself that he must be a bad guy. This time, except for his partner. Who else will come to his rescue? Man, tearing python in hand. Punch the head wolf. Take a picky eater. Be invincible with absolute strength. Bai Qingqing retracted his head. Scream. Thinking about this time, except for his partner. Who else will come to his rescue? But then he covered his mouth again. This sucks. Forgetting to shout will attract more rootless beasts. The orcs in the distance heard it. They all looked back at the stone pile in the distance. Then they rushed up. Want to snatch the magnetism. One by one, their eyes straightened with excitement. God knows how long they haven't touched magnetism. And the man who found Qingqing. But he still didn't move at all, squatting in place, staring at Qingqing. The rootless beasts behind them. One by one, they changed into the form of beasts. Excitement rushed straight at him. The man still stared at Qingqing and didn't move. It's fascinating to watch. Bai Qingqing saw that he had been staring at herself. Embarrassed to look away. It's time to think about it. How could he still be so calm? The rootless beasts behind them stretched out their claws. I was about to catch the man. The man squinted slightly. His brow furrowed unhappily. A raised hand. One punch. Then he struck the orcs who pounced on him and spat out blood. Flew out. Immediately after that, there was a sound from the east. Slammed into the ground. The man looked back disdainfully. There was a cold, murderous aura all around him. Wu Jian received the door to see this scene. Raise your head and yell. Attracted more orcs. The crowd turned into beast shapes. Created an attack state. After a lifetime of roaring, everyone rushed towards the man in unison. The man didn't even need to be transformed. With only one punch in the form of a human, the orcs retreated. I don't know what race he is. The power of the fist is as powerful as that of a crab. Pliers a few turns down. A group of orcs fell to the ground. I couldn't move anymore. Bai Qingqing looked out through the crack in the stone and looked out at me. What a fierce orc. Why don't you run away now? But when he was just about to escape, I saw the man alone, independent of the cave. The rest fell to the ground. The battle ended. Bai Qingqing didn't expect him to finish the fight so quickly. I thought this was over. He'll definitely come back and take his own. Sure enough, I saw the man turn around, step by step in his direction. Bai Qingqing's hands are folded, tilting his head and praying to hurry up. Hurry up and leave me alone. Please. The man successfully protected Qingqing with a baffle. After the end of the battle, Bai Qingqing raised her head and secretly prayed to leave quickly. Hurry up and leave me alone. Please, he waited for a while. The sword didn't move. Curiously, a small head poked out of the stone cave. Ask if anyone asks. The man replied from behind him, You're talking. Do you want to attract orcs again? Bai Qingqing was taken aback. I accidentally hit my head on a stone next to me. He quickly covered his head and retracted into the cave. The man just put Qingqing. The luggage that had been hidden in the distance was retrieved. Then he came to the edge of the cave. Stretch out your long arms. With a smack, Qingqing was steadily lifted. When the two looked at each other, Bai Qingqing turned her face uncomfortably. Coughed. Because there is a strong intensity in the man's body, choking on the smell of blood. Choking made it a little hard for him to breathe. The man got up and left with Qingqing in his hand. Bai Qingqing asked him where he was taking him. The man remained silent, just walking briskly on his own. It's been a long time. They came to the mouth of a cave that was deserted. The man then put Qingqing down. He walked straight ahead, bending over and began to dig up the whole cable. Bai Qingqing forgot to look around. See, it's a great place to hide. I wondered if the man was helping himself. You must not be careless. There is no one here. It's also a good place to kill people and get more trouble. So he slowly retreated with an in his arms. But one accidentally stepped on a stone. There was a clattering sound. Bai Qingqing froze in place. Just listen to the man and say, I won't hurt you. There is almost no smell here. Apparently, I haven't been interviewed for a long time, so it's safe here. How did you end up here, though? Bai Qingqing relaxed her body at this time. Presumably so. If the man wants to kill him, why bother? Bai Qingqing stepped forward. Don't ask why you're helping me. Do you know me? I thought that Wu Gunsho hated females, all of them. If you catch a female, you want to kill her. But he said that he would not hurt himself. Is it credible that he is too pretty? Even Wu Gunsho relented. Then he shook his head again. It's too narcissistic. Either way. It's been a few years. The man met again what he had admired for a long time. The woman was when Bai Qingqing was enjoying herself. I only heard the man say that I am not a rootless beast. Bai Qingqing was suddenly overjoyed. No wonder. Then thank you. I came to Yinqing to find King Xie. My hen got some poison. My partner and I came here to find an antidote. The man wiped the dust from his face. Thanks. Why? Qingqing didn't know what he meant by answering this. But fortunately, I am safe now. Let's feed the security guard first. After feeding, he pulled out the bead of light from his arms. I thought it was just by the light. Let's take a look at what the lifesaver looks like. Just as he held aloft the bead of light, when you want to see the man's face. But I saw a man flying. Rapid movement of the inner music. White crystal. Jing only saw that he was an orc without a tail. There are snakes without tails. Scorpions and birds. Orcs will haunt in the extension. It's not a rootless life yet. Then this person must be a little thin. After a long time, Bai Qingqing looked at an N who was sleeping in her arms. I'm ready to take a break. But I heard the man say that the hole is good. You hide in there. Bai Qingqing immediately picked up the light bead excitedly. Check it out. The man turned away from his light. Bai Qingqing took a picture forward. The arrows also dig very widely. He was just about to turn his head to see sure, but the man was nowhere to be seen. Bai Qingqing hurriedly chased out of the cave with the light bead. Hey, I don't know your name yet. My name is Bai Qingqing. What about you? The man listened for a while, although he had expected it. But when he actually heard the name, I was still excited, immediately got up and ran away quickly. Bai Qingqing was very puzzled when she saw this. There was something strange about this man. Then I heard a clattering sound. Someone might have come. Bai Qingqing hurriedly covered the light bead, hiding behind his luggage shivering. I thought to myself, don't come again. Finally found a safe place. I heard the roar of a leopard. Bai Qingqing immediately heard that it was Parker's voice. Hurriedly and excitedly walked out from behind the luggage. Ran to Parker. Parker stuck out his long tongue. Licked Qingqing's cheek. See that he is safe. I was relieved. The man in the distance saw this warm scene. He pursed the corners of his lips. I thought we'd see each other again. What it's like to meet a jealous leopard. The fungus saw this warm scene, twisted the corners of his lips. I thought we'd see each other again. And it is a pig at first sight. His eyes widened with excitement. I want to play with it. Seeing this, Bai Qingqing raised her hand and said an N. I'll play with you later. Then he turned to Parker again. Are you hurt? I'll see where the injury is. Parker turned his head out of the way. I don't want Qingqing to worry. But under Qingqing's repeated insistence, in the end I compromised. After all, the injury is so obvious. You can't hide it if you want to. I saw that his abdomen had been bitten off a large piece of fur. It's shocking to watch. Bai Qingqing said with a distressed face. Can you become human? I'll clean it for you. Reduces the chance of wound infection. Let's talk about it. He brought water to clean Parker's wound. While washing, he cautiously asked if it hurts. Bear with me. Parker was already tense, but I still endured to return to having you there. No pain at all. Moore guarded them from afar. Looking at the two laughing and laughing, he looked around again. After determining that there is no danger, he left for a moment. After a while, Bai Qingqing, he bandaged all of Parker's wounds. Parker then remembered to ask Qingqing, why do you smell of blood? And how did you get here? Bai Qingqing will be rescued by someone just now. It's a 1510 lawsuit. Zuitpaka. After saying that, he forgot to look again. There was no sign in the distance. Parker listened. Someone actually saved Qingqing. I was also very surprised. Then it suddenly occurred to me. He also has a strong smell of blood on his body. Overshadowed the taste of potatoes. This is the first time to show off the taste of others. Now take a closer look. I didn't expect to smell an acquaintance. The eagle beast whose wings had been bitten off by him. It's not even dead. Ran to Yinqing and ran into them. Is this fate? Come to think of this. He nervously grabbed Qingqing. Asked, "Don't you know the man?" Bai Qingqing shook her head. How could I know? Parker couldn't help but think to himself. Qingqing hasn't been out much in this world. The number of people who know each other comes over. It's so bright and dark here. Qingqing probably didn't see the male's face. That's why I don't know it. He's coming, he's coming. He came with steps that he didn't recognize. Parker thought to himself. Qingqing probably didn't see the male's face. That's why I don't know it. Bai Qingqing saw Parker silent for a long time. Hurriedly explained out loud, "Rest assured. I said I wouldn't be looking for a partner again. And didn't you say that you would hit your partner? I don't dare to forget." Parker knew that Qingqing wasn't such a forgetful person. We'll take a male who has saved him a few times. Wong's clean. Definitely the fungus on purpose. He didn't dare to see Qingqing. Haha, that's great. What better than see you in Lian? Beloved females dare not be more sad. Since the fungus was not recognized by Qingqing. Then disappear into the world of Qingqing forever. Bai Qingqing saw that he was so engrossed. Puzzled, he asked, "What is wrong with you?" Parker hurriedly shook his head, saying he was just hungry and wanted to eat meat. So Qingqing rummaged through her luggage. It's good that it's just him. I brought their luggage with me. A few pieces of meat were then found, dry-fed to Parker's mouth. He bent over him again and examined him. While blowing softly, he asked if he still hurt. Parker's body froze. Holding back the slight tremor of the body, he shook his head. He hadn't been injured since Qingqing left. These injuries were made at the beginning. Bai Qingqing saw that his body was a little hot. I thought he had a fever. But when you look closely, you can understand. It turned out that he blew his wounds for him, only to cause this reaction. Parker immediately coughed lightly in embarrassment. Don't look away. The two frolicked for a while. Parker was so tired. After taking Qingqing, he fell asleep. Wait until he sleeps. Bai Qingqing reached out and received the light bead into her luggage, lest the light attract other orcs. He stroked Park's cheek again. It seems that he was really seriously injured this time. I also lied to myself that it didn't hurt. Then she leaned over and kissed him on the cheek. But suddenly I heard the sound of barley. Bai Qingqing immediately turned her head. Vigilantly asked who it was. I saw a man agreeing to say at the entrance of the cave. I heard you're looking for me. The man was curious. What kind of woman is she? Attracted so many strong people. I saw the man say at the entrance of the cave. I heard you're looking for me. Bai Qingqing held up the bead of light. Only then did I see the man's appearance clearly. Ask him who he is here and what he wants to do. The man holds his index finger close to his lips. I made a promotion move. Prompt Bai Qingqing to be quiet. Don't wake Parker up. Bai Qingqing turned her head to look at the seriously injured body. Parker, who finally fell asleep and rested. After thinking carefully about what the man had just said, suddenly remembered and asked, "You are the Scorpion King?" Seeing the man nodded, Bai Qingqing couldn't help but think. Could it be that I knew the Scorpion King yesterday? It was he who called King Xie. I saw Xie Wangfu come forward, hooked Bai Qingqing's chin, and smiled. I've always been very nice to you. Curious, what kind of females attract so many strong people? More than a month ago, I came to ask for an antidote. Yesterday, there was another one. Bai Qingqing was stunned after hearing this. I thought to myself that it must have been Vincent more than a month ago. But what did that suitor mean yesterday? Then he explained. Yesterday wasn't his suitor. They only met yesterday. And King Xie. I've already learned about the past of fungus and Bai Qingqing. Throw Bai Qingqing away. Disdainful of it. Pretty females don't have a good thing. Bai Qingqing was speechless after hearing this. I thought I was telling the truth. Turning his head and remembering what was going on. busy asking King Xie for his wife and sister to come. It was he who poisoned an inn. After hearing this, King Xie raised his hand and smiled. I'm here to give you the antidote. You know, though, what's the price yours pay for those 2 males? Vincent promised to find me 1,000 black lazuli. I'll give the antidote when I've found it. As for yesterday's one, haha, he promised to play for me for the rest of his life. In return, of course, I can give you the antidote right away. Bai Qingqing was stunned for a moment. Ask who that person was yesterday. Why be so good to yourself? King Xie licked the corners of his lips wickedly. See Bai Qingqing like this now. It made him a little interested. It's not too heartless. So he teased and said so. You and I mate once. I'll give you the antidote for free. Let's talk about it. Then he dodged and pounced towards Bai Qingqing. But it's the worst man I've ever seen. Born ruthless and desireless. They can also be possessed. I saw the man suddenly dodge, pounce towards Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing suddenly turned blue with fright. This pressure is just trying to rob again. Sure enough, it deserves to be a stray beast. It's all forcible and pretentious. King Xie seemed to see through his thoughts. Disdainful filial piety, don't be sentimental. I was born rootless, ruthless, and desireless. You won't be able to travel in any way. I won't fall in love with you. Bai Qingqing was in a trance, and Vincent said, severely punish the females who are caught and violated. The offspring that are born are all born rootless beasts. King Xie is a naturally rootless orc. King Xie saw that he was frightened, very proud. Then he got a little closer. Bai Qingqing suddenly noticed the Hedra necklace around his neck. Sword falling mirror. And Vincent's soul crystallization that he found before is very similar is also an octahedral crystal. It's just a different color. One is purely transparent and does not have any color. One is pure black. No light shines through. He reached out curiously and touched it. I just heard his screams. King Xie leaned back in pain. He took several steps back. Only then did he hold on to the stone wall. Slowly squatted down and gasped for air. The body feels that there is a kind of soul gradually. The feeling of being pulled away. He regained his composure. He raised his hand to look at his body in confusion. Suddenly, it was like a different person. Bai Qingqing saw him walking towards him again. Hurriedly stretched out his hand to stop him. Wait a minute. What are you going to do? I will not grant your request. You give me the antidote first. Whatever you want, we'll find you and in again. He couldn't wait. The toxicity mostly stays in his body for a day. It hurts him a little more. I saw the man's cheeks redden. Reaching out to help Qingqing's face be born. Explain, don't be afraid. I was ashamed of Bai Qingqing and was stunned after hearing this. I recalled my time in Wanshou City. The tragically dead wolf beast I encountered, also called shame. I saw the man pointing at Xiawei again. So you want an antidote? He's in the marrow of the crab's tail. I'll take it from you. After hearing this, Bai Qingqing immediately thanked her excitedly. I didn't expect to get the antidote so soon. And right now, the voice of the Crab King suddenly came out of Shai's mind. It actually took over my body. The self-proclaimed ones came out of their own imagination. I saw the man's body violently exert force. Xiawei immediately disappeared back. His eyes returned to his previous evil spirit. Said Bai Qingqing, "You're really good at it." With that, he quickly turned around and left. Bai Qingqing chased a few steps to change lanes. Wait a minute, the antidote. This man is so strange. After the man went out and came home, I saw the scene in front of me. Angry, how would he react? After the metabolism king left, Parker sat up as well. He beckoned to Qingqing. It turned out that he had woken up a long time ago, just pretending to be asleep all the time. If he doesn't, How could King Xie say so much? And the other side of the time, King Xie was coming to the back of a stone wall. Feel your rib-like heartbeat. This is the neck. The feeling that the soul stone on the sun passed on to him. This throbbing. He has not experienced it in more than 50 years of his life. It was so strong that he almost suffocated. He ripped the necklace off. I thought to myself that this is the normal acceptance. How do you feel for your loved one? But this experience revealed his biggest secret. If it is outgoing, who else will be afraid of his scorpion venom in the future? But it feels good. It seems to be worth it to experience it once in this life. But right now, he suddenly felt a strong crisis behind him. I haven't had time to dodge yet. He was punched and flew away. I saw the fungus step forward angrily and said, "I'll let you give him the antidote. You dare to touch him. Now you don't have to give. I'll take it myself." After hearing this, King Xie spoke. "Looks like you've heard what you just said, but you can't save him by snatching the antidote. The toxicity in his body is very weak. Otherwise, he would have died a long time ago. The antidote is to fight poison with poison. The portion size should not be too much. Otherwise, it will kill him. You can rest assured. I just need time to weaken the properties." Then he got up again and said filial piety to you. "Did you really plan to kill me just now? You know you won't survive if you kill me. My father didn't care about me, though. But I still care a lot about my offspring. You're not a rootless beast. There are all kinds of emotions. Why do you look like you have nothing to love? If you want a female, grab it." Moore turned and lowered his eyes. He won't forgive me. Rather than look at him with a look of disgust and hatred at me, I'd rather hide for the rest of my life and not let him see it. When King Xie heard this, he was puzzled. What a strong emotion. We'll let this soulless general recipient, cowardly enough to see people. Moore turned his head back to you, and there was so much to talk about today. We've known each other for 2 years. I didn't say as much as I did today. With that, he turned and left. King Xie slowly propped himself up. I finally experienced the emotion. He couldn't just die. Raised his hand to warn the souls of the world, seeing that his breath was weak. It looks like it's almost dawn. Inside the cave, Parker saw that there was not much food left. I didn't eat any more. Rested on his stomach. Bai Qingqing saw him like this. I thought he was weak. I don't even have the strength to eat. So he put the food in his mouth, ready to chew it up and feed him. Parker turned his head. I saw Qingqing eating with a look of death. It's very puzzling. Then her cheek was cupped by Qingqing. The next second, he understood why Qingqing had that expression just now. After he swallowed, still looking at Qingqing in disbelief. Just listen to what Qingqing said. Don't dislike it. I don't want to. Who told you to eat that you can't move? Parker finally reacted, immediately showed a look of ecstasy, said he still had to eat. But after most of the food was eaten, Parker couldn't help but think to himself. When Curtis returned, he found that the food was gone. You won't kill yourself. I was hesitating to continue eating. I saw Qingqing break his shoulder. Why are you stunned? Opened his mouth, and Parker suddenly broke the house. Yes, and right now. Curtis walked back just in time. As soon as I entered the cave, I saw the scene in front of me. His face immediately darkened. The snake's tail pumped out like lightning. Luckily, Parker was just right to see him. Immediately a dodge. Narrowly dodge. What do you want? The woman has gone through 1,000 dangers. Finally found his love. Bai Qingqing hurriedly stood in front of Parker and said, Curtis, you calm down. Parker was injured and couldn't nibble on jerky. If I don't feed him, he'll starve to death. I saw Curtis's gloomy face. Coldly spit out 2 words, right? Bai Qingqing looked back and saw Paco's injuries. It's all hurt to protect yourself. Curtis sensitized lips. I thought to myself that this leopard must be playing tricks again. If it's not for business, I tore him sooner or later. I only heard a man behind him suffering from Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing's eyes suddenly widened, looking at the person in disbelief. After he reacts, immediately strode forward, ran into Vincent's arms, raised his hand to support his face, and said, "You have lost weight. I must have suffered a lot in this place. Your lips are also dry and peeling. Come and drink some water. We don't have much food, but the water can still be drunk for many days." With that, he hurriedly pulled Vincent and ran towards the line. Wait for a few bowls of water to be poured down. Bai Qingqing wiped the corners of his mouth for him, asked him if he still wants to drink. Vincent shook his head, "No more. I drank 3 bowls of each. By the way, how did you end up here? I've saved up over 300 black crystals. I will be able to go back in just over 3 months." Bai Qingqing made a rough calculation. It seems that the kings really wanted it. 1,000 black crystals. Vincent listened, scratching his head in confusion. Asked them how they know. So Bai Qingqing, "That's what happened today." And they all told the people. After Qingqing finished speaking, Curtis pondered for a moment. "I thought about the lifesaver. Judging by the smell that remains in this cave, it should be fungus. How could he be here?" Just when I was about to ask, Parker winked at him, motioned for him not to speak out. Bai Qingqing saw Parker's strange expression, so he asked Parker, "What happened to you?" My face cramped. Then he reached out and pinched his cheek. "Do you still eat food that doesn't move? Then I'll go get some more, help you chew it up, and feed you." Parker just wanted to stop it. It can be seen that Qingqing has run away in a puff of smoke. He was greeted by Cody's eye, the eyes of the red people, seeing that the snake's tail was about to twitch again. Parker is busy with whitehead filial piety, hee. It's all a misunderstanding. With that, he snatched the jerky from Qingqing's hand. All of them were stuffed into their mouths. Can you believe it? The man hadn't drunk a drop of water in more than 2 months. Bai Qingqing was directly stunned. I only heard Parker say vaguely, "I've regained a lot of strength now. You are tired of eating. Let's take a break." Bai Qingqing rubbed her cheeks happily. The sourness that had been chewed for a long time was uncomfortable and swollen to death. Parker came to Curtis, silently gesturing, told him that Xiao Bai didn't recognize the fungus. Curtis thinks that the power of females is too bad. In the dungeon, they are basically blind. It's normal for Xiao Bai not to recognize the British beast. Come to think of this, he gestured to Parker. Before Xiao Bai recognizes the fungus, get rid of the fungus. Parker nodded excitedly. The two are surprisingly consistent in this world. Vincent in the distance, the animal leash on his shoulder was torn off, said that since he knew where the antidote to some poison was, then I don't need to mine for some kings. He casually threw the gold ornaments aside. Bai Qingqing looked at such a large animal leash. Curiously, he stretched out his little head and stepped forward. I flipped the leash open and looked at it. What catches your eye is a large bag full of black and gold jewelry. It's a shame to think it's just lost. Let's keep it for now. So he was ready to put the stone aside. But when he tried harder, he realized that it was too heavy. This weight is Vincent's sweat for more than a month. He could barely lift his hand. Vincent stepped forward to ask for help. But look at his haggard face. Bai Qingqing's heart was hurting fiercely. I thought I was obviously a king. It's only been a little over a month since I left, deeply tortured like a defeated captive. So he didn't care about the Hedrons. Pulled Vincennes to his luggage. Turned out all their jerky. Let Vincent hurry up and eat more. Seeing this, Vincent shook his head and said that there was no shortage of food here. You can keep these and eat them. Bai Qingqing was very unfortunate when she heard this. This is a desert. How can there be no shortage of food? Don't be pushy. Eat it. So Vincent explained it to him carefully. Says it's full of food. There is no need to worry about him starving at all. Parker's eyes lit up after hearing this. Ask where the food is available. Take me there. Vincent nodded, saying that there was no shortage of food here. But water is very economical. One black crystal can be exchanged for a bowl of water. Bai Qingqing was shocked when she heard this. I didn't expect crystals to be so expensive. He pointed to the golden age on the side and said, so much black quartz out there. It should be enough for your drinking water needs. You drink a bowl of water in a few days. Vincent shook his head. He had never drunk a single drop of water. Hearing Bai Qingqing at this time, I can't suppress my emotions anymore. Tears rolled down her eyes. He threw himself into Vincent's arms. I thought it was really hard for him during this time. This little leopard is so cute. Bai Qingqing threw herself into Vincent's arms. It's hard to think about this time. For him, Vincent smiled happily. Don't worry about calling Qingqing. I've gotten through it. Parker on the side. He yelled excitedly. Are you going to hunt for food? Walk around, but get too excited. I accidentally got a wound on my waist. He snorted. Parker then went out hunting with Vincent. Curtison had already eaten it, so he stayed behind to take care of Qingqing. A moment later, Vincent led Parker to a wide field. This is one of the places where the black lazuli is dug up. What catches your eye? It's rows of orcs hiding headlands. Vincent took on the form of a beast. Take a few steps forward and aim your goal ahead. Parker then understood. It also turned into a beast. Big fish eat little fish. It turns out that the food is these orcs. There's really no shortage of food. It seems that the dungeon is more dangerous than he thought. If he was alone, hurt so badly, I'm afraid it must be the target of predation. It didn't take long. The two of them returned to the cave together. Seeing this, Bai Qingqing stepped forward and asked, have you eaten enough? Parker patted his round belly. He nodded excitedly. It seems that his injuries will heal soon. I saw that they had no food with them. Bai Qingqing pretended to be wrong to you, really. Eat for yourself. And don't bring me any jerky. I can't even taste it in my mouth. Parker jumped into the cave. I'll definitely bring it to you next time. After that, I saw that the beds were occupied by Curtis. Nothing was left for him. Had to lie to the side alone and snort coldly. It's time to rest. Vincent takes on human form. Said to Qingqing, I'll go find some kings to get the antidote. The temperature on the ground is too high. You go down and rest first. Be comfortable. Bai Qingqing nodded. Curtis behind him also stretched. A lazy yawn. But the space is too narrow. The snake tail accidentally put the stone wall on. The dirt was thrown in his face. Seeing this, Bai Qingqing couldn't help but snort. Laugh out loud. See Curtis correspondence. He pretended to be nothing. Moved in and covered with a quilt. A battle is about to begin. The sword was teased by Qingqing. Curtis immediately got up. He said that he suddenly didn't want to sleep. It was decided to go with Vincent to find some kings. Vincent stepped forward to stop him. It's the trouble I've gotten into. It's up to me to figure it out. Curtis glanced at him in displeasure. You pulled Xiao Bai in. It's not your own business. I'm afraid that the two will quarrel. Bai Qingqing blindly waved at them. Tell them to go with them. Of course, his heart supports them in his journey. After all, that Crab King is also a four-piece beast. Bai Qingqing was worried that Vincent would suffer from the Crab King again. It was reassuring to have Curtis in him. It's just that it's going to be bitter again, Parker. Bai Qingqing held the bead of light and looked at the two. After walking away, the body suddenly fell backwards. I saw Parker take it into his arms and say, great. It's just the two of us again. Looks like Parker is pretending to be asleep again. Seeing that Parker's wound was not healed, Bai Qingqing hurriedly moved away. Tell Parker to be careful with the wound. Then he hid the light bead in his hand. It's better to be careful. Don't attract anyone else. Parker pursed his lips reproachfully. I blame myself for not being strong enough. It's insecure to let Qingqing stay with you. No, I have to be strong. That's how you can protect him. And the other side of this time, Curtis and Vincent were walking towards King Xie's residence. The area of this dungeon is very large. It's a world of its own. Last time I looked for Vincent, the Cordy Temple took a day. It took more than half a day to find it and rush back. 2 days later, the two finally arrived at the exit of the dungeon. There is no daylight or starlight in the dungeon except in the sky. Not on the ground. The outside of the plant is no different from the outside world. Listen to Curtis say they've been gone for 2 days. Vincent looked at him in surprise. No one has a sense of time here. I didn't expect Curtis to be able to tell the time. It's pretty impressive. Then he looked up at the light coming from ahead. It seems to have arrived. Curtis asked if he had the only exit. Vincent shook his head. It's the only one I know. King Xie guarded against him and didn't tell him about the exit from the outside world. He had stumbled upon it. I saw him yell at the entrance of the cave. A rope was thrown from it. There are a few orcs guarding the perimeter of the cave. Vincent climbed up the rope first, when Curtis was ready to go up as well. But he sensed a burst of murderous aura coming from behind him. He glanced back coldly. It seems that a battle is inevitable again. Suddenly, a snake beast emerged from the ground. What an experience it is in front of you. Curtis glanced back. There was a burst of harmful microcharges all around him. People were so frightened that they immediately stopped. Don't dare to go any further. Curtis then turned his head and looked at the entrance of the cave. Seeing that Vincent had already gone up for a moment. How come there is no rope to throw down? It turned out that the text at this time, Mori was discussing with the guards at the entrance to the cave. The guards only recognized Vincent. Didn't know Curtis. They did not agree to let him out. Then I thought about it again. Isn't there no snake beast in the dungeon? How he got in? So he glanced at his companion. Xiaowei tapped a few times on the ground to convey the message. Vincent immediately. I keenly heard that there was a group. The sound of the scorpion beast rushing towards it. Thinking about how hard it would be. It is bound to stand on the opposite side of the entire Yinqing. That's what I don't want to see. But Qingqing is also below. They will always go out from here. That day will come, just as he thought, when I saw a pair of hands on the entrance of the cave. Curtis jumped out of the hole in a leap. Frightened, the guards retreated. Wait until they react. Hurriedly aimed at Curtis and attacked him. I saw Curtis grab the scorpion tail. One rolled over and threw it into the hole. The orcs guarding the cave have long been eyeing each other. After all, he is a hunter with average ability. Immediately pounced on it like a wicked man staring at the food. The guards also wanted to pull it up, but it was already too late. What they saw was a mess. The companion is gone. Vincent and Curtis made their way to the city gates. The guards led them to report to King Xie. And the other side of the time, Parker is constantly leading. The orcs drove towards the neighborhood. But after luring away a group of rootless beasts, that's when Parker returned to the cave. He had inquired that the roof of the dungeon was full of stones. Can't get out. Suddenly, he smelled a familiar scent. Immediately remind Qingqing not to make a sound. He immediately ran out of the cave to check. Sure enough, it was the corpse beast that had fought him before. Found here. When Qingqing found out, hurriedly told Parker to come in. We can't be discovered. Parker axed his head. Softly said no. Qingqing is for your safety. I've got to get him away. You stay here. Don't be silent. With that, he prepared to leave. Bai Qingqing hurriedly reached out and grabbed him. Choked up and said no. You're going to get hurt. Don't go, okay? Parker shook his head and Shisho searched around here. You'll find it soon. I had to get him away. With that, he gently withdrew Qingqing's palm. Tell him to rest assured and wait for him to come back. He turned around and left, after Bai Qingqing saw him leave. turned around, and stayed by An's side. I thought they all had to come back safely. Right now. He heard footsteps behind him. Scare. As for An in his arms, his blind father-in-law protected him. Hope not to be discovered by others. The king of crabs saw this. Can't squeeze forward. Pursed his lips and smiled, curling such a seductive figure. Is it to greet me? The beauty Bai Qingqing immediately stood up. I didn't expect it to be discovered. The woman has gone through 1,000 dangers. Finally found the antidote. Half an hour ago. Bai Qingqing was so frightened that she immediately stood up. I didn't expect it to be discovered. When he looked up, he saw that he was sitting down at the entrance of the cave. He raised the pillar of light and asked, "Why are you here? Or should I ask you to fix it?" As soon as I heard this, King Xie's necklace on his chest immediately. There was a blinding glow. He felt that throbbing heartbeat again. It turned out that the gene he picked up was called shame. See the expression on King Xie's face. Bai Qingqing knew that he couldn't be a cultivator. There is no doubt that it must be King Xie. So I wondered why he came so punctually. Parker had just been lured away by the corpse beast. And he appeared. I saw that Xie Wang Minshun, filial piety and longevity were attracted by me. Your partner chased him. Bai Qingqing gritted her teeth in displeasure after hearing this. Relying on being respected, he also knows how to adjust the tiger and stand on the mountain. But Qingqing's little expression, it made King Xie feel like a coquette. It's also a little cute. No wonder it's so popular. But the mood came quickly and violently. Some can't tell if this is the emotion he should have, or from this soul crystal in the chest. Stone's emotions. The Arrow King turned and stroked his chest. Bai Qingqing nervously asked, "Hey, are you hurt? You haven't given me the antidote yet. It can't be okay." Only then did King Xie remember the purpose of his visit. Immediately open the package on your side. Look what I brought you. I saw the wrapping interior. A small medicine surrounded by a pile of ice cubes. Bai Qingqing immediately stepped forward excitedly to investigate. Actually use ice cubes to keep it fresh. Is this the antidote? King Xie of the sword answered. Bai Qingqing hurriedly snatched the package. Great, now An is finally saved. Let's talk about it. Immediately turned around and ran in the direction of An. The evil king looked at his palm with unfinished eyes. Heart. This was the first time he had come into contact with a female, although it was only a momentary touch. But the warm touch made him unsatisfied. And Bai Qingqing on the side. The matter has been pulled out of the pin cork. I turned around and asked what to do with it. Do you drink it all at once? Only then did King Xie come back to his senses. Just go back and drink it right away. I'm not sure about him. How much toxin remains? To be on the safe side, I set the dosage of the antidote very low. 1 dose may not completely detoxify the toxin. The woman actually gave birth to a bunch of scorpions. And the child's father is the famous Crab King. Bai Qingqing nodded in response after hearing this. Immediately, the antidote was fed into An's mouth. After the Ministry of Safety and Security has finished drinking, Bai Qingqing couldn't help but poke his little face. At least the next poison won't be so painful. With that, he lowered his head and prepared to lightly light An's cheeks. Hearing King Xie shout anxiously, "Beware of poisoning." Only then did Bai Qingqing react. Hurriedly raised his head and thanked King Xie. King Xie told him that his name was Mitchell. Seeing that Bai Qingqing didn't hear clearly, he couldn't squeeze forward, hooked Qingqing's chin and said, "Remember, my name is Mitchell." Bai Qingqing turned her head and understood. I want to see it for the sake of the antidote. I can only endure it first. Then he looked at it dotingly. I think it's still important for his recovery. King Xie looked at the woman in front of him. My heart was pounding again, seeing that Qingqing's whole body exudes the brilliance of motherhood. I thought to myself, if it was the mother of my little scorpion, it must be a warm picture. Bai Qingqing suddenly remembered something. Turning around, I asked, yes. You didn't see me. 2 companions. They're looking for you. King Xie nodded. I met Bai Qingqing. Suddenly, they were even more puzzled. Why didn't I come with you? King Xie turned around. Say they have 2 days to come back. Bai Qingqing. I thought that King Xie had let them work again. I saw King Xie bend over and sit down. He said, how dare I let them work? But that's not the end of the story. Xiaowei's place was stolen by Brother Shitzi. He jumped up in pain. I thought to myself, this is really embarrassing. Bai Qingqing saw this. I couldn't help but laugh and said that the antidote was extracted from Xiaowei. Will it hurt you? King Xie was suddenly full of grievances, and that was affirmed. I used a stone cone to break open the carapace of the tail. It took a lot of effort to come up with those antidotes. Even if you become a humanoid tailbone, it still hurts. After hearing this, Bai Qingqing flipped through the luggage on the side, took out some jerky from it, handed it to some kings. It was said that this was the food we brought from the tribe. In exchange, you taste it. The taste is very good. Xie Wang. First time trying this jerky with condiments. Suddenly his eyes glowed with gold. I didn't expect it to taste so good. But after learning that the food was made by Parker, he had a yearning for the jungle. There must be a lot of strange things out there. Bai Qingqing continued to ask him, why didn't Vincent wait 2 days for them to come back? Only then did King Xie recall it hesitantly. The scene at that time. At that time, he was working on an antidote. A snake's tail suddenly twitched in front of his eyes. I saw Curtis roll him in the air. He is a generation of scorpion kings. Recently, it has been attacked by various powerful people one after another. Is this a hornet's nest? I saw Curtis roll the scorpion king in the air, forced him to hand over the antidote. Seeing that King Xie was not born, the snake's tail couldn't help but tighten a little more. The guards outside the door saw this. They all pulled out their weapons and pointed them at Curtis. But they all stopped. The body trembled in place. Don't dare to step forward. King Xie saw that Curtis had no animal tattoos on his face. The strength is so strong. It must be the same as Moore. It is also a level above Sven. But King Xie is the lord of a city. He must not lose his position. So he opened his mouth and said what? Can't afford crystals. Do you want to come to the antidote? Even if you get the antidote, there is no way to save the disaster. The words are not finished yet. Was thrown out by the snake's tail. The Crab King crashed into the stone wall and slid down. A mouthful of blood gushed out of his mouth. Seeing this, the guards finally couldn't bear it anymore. Pluck up the courage to rush forward and want to fight with the two. Blood Sword Xie Dynasty, they fought by show. Wiped the blood from the corners of the lips. The guards retreated to the door. And then guard. King Xie got up slowly. He said as he walked towards his seat, "You're thinking too simply. The poison in that hen was very light. Directly with a high concentration of antidote. Not only can't you save the hen, we'll also directly kill him." Curdy looked around and stepped forward to teach Vincent a lesson, stretched out his hand to stop him, and said, "We are coming to you today. I don't want your life, just the antidote." Xia Wangxie had already shown a look of hesitation on his seat. "I promised Bai Qingqing's other suitor. We'll give you the antidote as soon as possible. Go back and wait." Kurdiston's eyes sank. Ask him when he gave the antidote. King Xie smiled helplessly. "I can't guarantee this. The concentration of the antidote must be adjusted slowly." Impatiently, Curtis turned around and lingered. "Done before the full moon. Otherwise, I'll pick it up myself." With that, he left with Vincent. After the two of them are gone, King Xie hurriedly bounced up from his seat. He couldn't figure it out. Damn this Bai Qingqing's partner. How a pervert stronger than the other. Only that leopard is not as good as me. The man accidentally injured the girl. It's a self-blame film. Before the moment, King Xie was still reminiscing. Curtis looked for him on the day. Suddenly, a small hand shook in front of his eyes. Pulled back his wandering thoughts. The Crab King grasped the small hand in front of him. I felt a soft and warm touch coming from the palm of my hand. Qingqing's hands are small and slippery. He couldn't help but pull out the rope. Until Bai Qingqing screamed in pain, "You let go." Then the king came to his senses. Hurriedly let go of his hand. Bai Qingqing's painful cold sweat came out, while rubbing his red and swollen little hands. He said, "I just want to know where my two partners are." King Xie told him they were fine. "Just won't cut corners. It's just 2 more days." "Your hands are fine." Bai Qingqing shook her head. "It's okay. It turns out that this dungeon is alive. King Xie only needs to enter the special entrance. You can go anywhere in the dungeon." After explaining, King Xie asked uneasily, "Are your hands really okay?" Bai Qingqing glanced at him angrily. "You didn't get it." "Okay, that's my question. Go back." King Xie showed a look of self-reproach. He has never touched females. I didn't know that females were so soft. I'll be sure to pay attention next time. Bai Qingqing pouted his lips, and there will be next time. "Don't be. I'm fine. You go. If you're idle, it's okay. Just help me get Parker back. It's the leopard you tricked away." As soon as the words fell, I saw King Xie turn around and say no need. "He's back." Bai Qingqing listened, immediately showed a happy expression, trotted up to the hole, and looked. Blood spattered. Xie Wangjing was still sitting on the edge of the cave and did not leave. Very confused, I only heard King Xie smile, evilly ha. "I'm afraid you miss me too much. Let you look at it a little longer. If you think of me, remember to come to me." Bai Qingqing was speechless. These kings looked quite burly. I didn't expect a moment of verbosity. Parker dragged his tired body back. White crystal connection. Hurriedly stepped forward to check on Parker for injuries. And told him about King Xie. "I just came to deliver the antidote." Parker immediately turned into a humanoid when he heard this. Surprised, "Thank you. The king really sent the antidote." Bai Qingqing nodded. "Probably text." Sun and Curtis had already spoken to him. After that, Parker was silent and did not answer. A few strands of blood slid down his forehead. Then he fell to the ground with a thud.